Good Monday morning, everyone. Yes, the saga continues. Welcome back to the snowing quarter. And I tell you what, it is very, very, very snowy here in Birmingham again. So, John, unfortunately, in his little noddy car, other characters are available, couldn't make it out of the wilds to here in Birmingham. So, it's you and I again this morning. Here I am. That's me. That's the guilty party with you, though, and hopefully looking after you as we have right the way over the weekend as well. It's been a brilliant weekend, and it is lovely to be back with you as well. Most of the team have made it in, and both of my guests have made it in today as well. And look at this beautiful, splendid quilt. We've been talking about this for a long, long time. This from the brand new Devon County Collection, brought to you with the Quilters Guild. It's just going to be such an exploration into history and heritage. You are going to love it. So let's serve up your Monday morning menu here at the Sewing Quarter. We start in just a couple of moments' time with Jane Alcock, who is here, and we will talk through the most amazing, incredible bundle from the Devon County Collection, and we are heading towards quite a major quilt design that you can be part of this morning. 9 o'clock, of course, before we have the Overlocker Masterclass, we have to open this So Special box, which might just be related. It might have a connection. That's all I can say right now. But if you've always hankered over an overlocker, very good, another play of words there, then actually 9 o'clock is the time to be here because you are going to love it. Amanda Wyatt will join me at 9 o'clock, and we've got a whole hour to indulge in an Overlocker Masterclass. 10 o'clock, Jane will be back with me as we continue building up this beautiful quilt behind us from the Devon County Collection. And there's a real treat, actually, coming up in the 10 o'clock hour as well. If you are a fabric fiend, 10 o'clock is definitely your hour this morning. And we're going totes amazing with Amanda at 11 o'clock. We have got an incredible bag to make up, and lots of other goodies in that hour as well. So that's how our morning looks so far this morning. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Let's have a quick look at the website then, shall we? Of course, it's always live for you, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, sewingquarter.com. It's the best way to watch the show, or certainly to shop along with the show, because all you need to do is go to the main website and click on watch, and you will see the little player will pop up. There you go, there's the menu on there at the moment, but that will be showing the show a little bit behind the live show on TV. The web stream's a little bit behind, but it's fine. All of the products that we show you will pop up on the right-hand side, allow you to add those to your basket. And let's see what Hannah sends us as a message this morning. Just a hello from the snow from Hannah this morning. You can send us a message directly into the studio. There are two ways of getting a message into us, actually. You can do it via that, or you can drop us an email, studio@sewingquarter.com. One more thing I need to show you on the website very, very quickly is an amazing offer we have on our subscription magazines for our crafting titles. So Love Patchwork and Quilting, Today's Quilter, and Simply Sewing magazine have a bit of an offer on our website right now, because we are part of the same immediate media family, where you can save up to 50%, I think, on magazine subscriptions, which is rather nice. So your opportunity to maybe get somebody a Christmas gift of a subscription as well. Lovely. Fabulous. Right, that's that one there, isn't it? Lovely. Well, the cameras are all in a different order. Well, they're in the same order, but in different places, with no people behind them waving at me saying, this one, this one, this one. But we got most of the team in. So, this beautiful box here, oh, actually, that's a telly box at the moment because that's empty. But in an hour's time, that is going to be full of... Shall I just tell them, Hannah? Shall I just tell them what's in there? Overlocker. Yeah, Overlocker. Best value introductory offer Overlocker you have ever seen here at the Sewing Quarter. Oh, yes. Yes. No, we're not going back over... Oh, yes, it is. We're not going back over old ground. Oh, no, no, no. We are stepping into new territory. The most affordable price-wise overlocker we have ever seen. Right, let's go into the Devon County Collection right now. We're talking heritage quilting today with a really, really rich history. Actually, it's been quite good. Hannah, floor manager Chris, Hannah and myself all had a little holiday in Birmingham last night as we were stuck and holed up in the city centre. So we did some homework while we were there, and we looked back through the history. And actually, the Quilters Guild, I didn't realise, living in North Yorkshire, that the Quilters Guild is somewhere that, via your quilting group, you can make arrangements to actually go and see a huge collection of heritage quilts. And actually, our team have been there. I think we can see a little bit of footage from there on some quilts that date back to the 1800s. I've been fascinated learning some of the history regarding quilting, and it's great. The Devon County Collection right now is inspired by some of these heritage quilts which date back to the 1800s. This is a new collection, actually. You may have seen it featured in today's Quilter, taking its inspiration from a mariner quilt design, which was from the 1820s, 1830s. I think the original one is there, along with the new fabrics from the Devon County Collection that we're actually going to be featuring today. So it's been redesigned, and here it is in 2017, and we're offering you an amazing opportunity. You've seen the overall quilt that we have over there. We'll see it again in just a second when I join Jane. But here is the huge fabric bundle that you can make up that huge quilt, and indeed many other different designs. I mean, we've all been looking at the different fabrics that we've got here, and we've been saying, right, okay, well, great for the quilt, but because there's lots and lots of different, piecing, you're going to have plenty of fabric over as well, which will be amazing. You also get the addition of today's quilter, which has a little Devon County supplement inside it, and in there is the complete method and instructions to actually make the quilt as well. So it's there step by step, everything that you're actually going to have. We will show you the quilt itself that we're heading towards. Here it is. I'm actually going to be making that central part in the first hour of the show this morning using the fabric bundle that we've got here. It's amazing. I love it, love it, love it. Right, let's have a look at all of the different fabrics that we have, because this is a big, big bundle, and there are people checking out already. Remember, this is the brand new Devon County Collection, and this is for the medallion quilt kit, which has been designed with the inspiration, taking its inspiration from that original Mariner compass design. In this, there is 13.5 meters of fabric. How many different fabrics did we say there were? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 26. 26, thank you, Jane. 26 different fabrics in this bundle. Now, we have added some of the Macawa solids to the bundle, but the majority, it's the lion's share. I think there are 4 solids. The other 22 are the Devon County Collection, and they all have fabulous names. They're generally all named after people as well. So we have Blue Robin and Brown Dorothy and Catherine, and Donald and Dorothy and Heather and James and Jane. It's amazing. It really is. It's beautiful. You have your full instructions to make the quilt top on this. They all come in this this supplement, which does have some of the history, and we'll go through some of the history actually behind the heritage of these quilts as well, and what has inspired this collection. It's absolutely incredible, and it's absolutely fascinating, of course. I've been learning all about heritage quilting this morning and its origins as well, and it is super, super fascinating. So the bundle is there, the price is there for you. I know a lot of you have been waiting for this show to come along. Have you had a chance to have a fairly detailed look through the fabric so far? Because there are lots and lots of different feelings, textures from every one of these fabrics as well. They are just delicious. I mean, some of them are very, very sort of contemporary looking. I mean, we were looking at this blue checked fabric earlier, and we were thinking about lots of sort of modern applications, maybe just having that one fabric. But you can see we're looking at wonderful sort of leaf motifs. This is beautiful. So it's a new collection this year from the Quilters Guild, but taking all of its inspiration from those heritage quilts dating back to the 19th century and beyond, actually. Look at that. Absolutely stunning, stunning fabric. We will be looking at it in closer detail as we go through the morning. We've got lots and lots of opportunities to have a good look at those. Full instructions, of course, included in the supplement. So you get the edition of today's quilter that actually features with this project in. It's actually a complete supplement. I know Jenny, who's the commissioning editor for today's quilter, it's one of her most exciting editions, actually. Let's just have a look through this side as well, if we can, because look, just look, the colours as well, they're so serene. They're very nice muted colours. Some are more sort of carnival colours, but the way that they work together, they are wonderful. Amy already texting in this morning, loving the look of these amazing fabrics. Yeah, we have waited for a long, long time to actually, I think this is just divine. We'll get a closer look later, but it's like lovely, wonderful, sort of very gently coloured leaves going through that lovely cream fabric. They are amazing, aren't they? And to have 26 different fabrics, 22 of which are this Devon County Collection from Quilters Guild. I mean, this as well, the colour in this is so, so vibrant, beautiful, lovely, almost sort of like a feather design in a wonderful blue there, like a lovely piercing blue eye almost. And again, very, very classic styles, really, really dating back all the way through, taking their inspiration from the 1800s. Quilting does have an amazing, rich history. It is lovely to step back into that and create many, many different designs. I mean, you may make exactly, you know, the quilt that we're heading to make here, which is actually, you know, here, and actually the full instructions are in this supplement that you actually get with it. In fact, I can show you the sort of full picture of it there. So you can see even from there, using the fabric combinations that we're seeing, stunning, isn't it? It's a wonderful, wonderful design. So that's what we're heading for very, very shortly. Let's go over to the quilt, shall we? I'll take the magazine with me. Here's everything that you are getting in the bundle. The bundle, I have to say, again, as you would expect, because of the prestige of this range, we don't have a huge number of these bundles available, and they are going to sell out extremely quickly. Jane Alcock, good morning.
Good morning.
It is lovely to meet you, although we met in a hotel reception at very early dawn this morning, didn't we?
We did, yes.
Because we were all put up in a little hotel just down the road here. So we were all here and didn't have to slush through the snow too much. Well, this must be, Jane, a dream come true.
Yeah, it's lovely. Beautiful fabrics, lovely designs, and a lovely quilt to play with.
It's stunning. Now, give me, if you will, just a tiny, tiny overview of the Quilters Guild. What is the Quilters Guild? The
Quilters Guild is a body of people, mostly volunteers, that have come together to preserve the heritage of the quilts, really. Mm-hmm. You can be a member of the Quilters Guild. There are quite a few areas, and they have guild meetings within the areas. Mm-hmm. And they have a museum at York where you can go and look at, by appointment now, some of the vintage quilts, mm-hmm. which are an amazing inspiration. And I
know John and some of the team have actually been there. Oh, actually, have we got a piece of film from that trip? Have we? Oh, yes, we have, actually. So from that trip, actually, let's do that. Let's go back to York again, shall we? John and the team went there. And this is the very, very sort of famed Mariner Compass quilt, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
This new range has taken its design sort of from, hasn't it?
I think when they launched the range in the first instance, they brought the pattern out of the Mariner's Compass. Yeah. And then Sally's then gone on to design this one that we've got here today that uses the same fabrics and quite a traditional medallion style design.
And it's got a really, really, really rich history to it as well. So this is also what the Quilters Guild are doing to keep alive that heritage as well, is saying, okay, you know, let's take different eras and let's take a quilt with a story, because the Devon County Collection actually really does have a story behind it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's unusual to be able to trace back a heritage of a quilt, because quite often there is no label on it saying where it's come from and things like that. So quite often you don't know the story behind a quilt, but with the Devon County one, there's a family history and a bit about all the people that were involved with the making of it.
Yeah.
It really is a family quilt.
And there's an overview of that history in this supplement that you'll actually get, actually. So as you go through, there's an introduction from Jenny Fox Proverbs, who's the commissioning editor for today's Quilter. And inside, you will start learning about the rich history of these heritage quilts as well, the kind of era that they came from. This is the story behind the Mariner Compass design for the story of the Can daughters and the Can family, and how this quilt was created. And indeed, the description of the fabric family tree as well, because the fabrics in this bundle are all named after members of the Can family, aren't they?
Yes, I think they are. The inspiration is from... because, of course, in those days, the cloth they used, they didn't go to a fabric shop and buy fabric specifically for a quilt.
This is what fascinated me, because back in the day, it was literally taking the you know, the sort of, not even worn out, but taking the clothes
offcuts from clothes that had been made, because, of course, they made all their own clothing. So it would be offcuts from clothing. It would be worn-out clothing that they could use the better bits of. And it really was utilitarian item, a quilt. You know, it was using up the scraps of fabric around the home that were left to make something warm for the winter, to keep you warm in the winter. So, yeah, it wasn't like we do now and go and buy a bundle and make a quilt. It was carry on as you go along.
And of course, that came back again sort of later, didn't it, in the late 1940s and 50s with the whole make, do and mend things. That never really went away, did it?
No.
We learnt something from a generation, or actually maybe 2 generations before, and brought that back into play again. And it's quite nice actually to tap back into that heritage as well, isn't it? It's quite interesting how the Quilters Guild is almost an equivalent of, you know, breathing new life into the old heritage railways.
Yes.
You know, clearing all of the sidings, getting all of the engines recommissioned, and, you know, getting steam trains going again. It's almost that same kind of...
Yeah, keeping the heritage alive and keeping it fresh and modern, and bringing it to people that, you know, are finding it for the first time.
Yeah. And I think actually there's a real authenticity to this as well, because even the fabrics take their inspiration from what would have happened, you know, 150, 170, 180 years ago, which is incredible. Carolyn Kent, good morning to you. She's been in touch. She says, well done, SQ, for keeping the heritage going for us quilters. We're very, very welcome, Carol. It is important, actually, because, you know, often when we're looking, it's all about new. We're making new. Actually, this is looking backwards with new ingredients, but real authentic ingredients, aren't we?
And the thing is, I mean, these are traditional patterns, but we still use these patterns. Yeah. We can use them in modern fabrics, in modern colours. You know, modern quilters tend to go for more solid colours, but that pattern in solids would just look as fantastic as the patterns do.
And we've been looking at a lot of these fabrics standalone. I mean, we've been quite lucky, and so will you be as well. When you get your bundle home and when you see the fabrics one by one, you'll pick each one of them up and you will say, oh, actually, I can see that in an entirely different context.
Yes.
And with a lot of these, ordinarily, I mean, we have a lot of fabric. So where you have a ½ metre of your fabric for the quilt, you'll have
quite a bit left over for
your
stash.
Left over.
Yeah, because this quilt uses quite a few. It's just fat quarters. There's not that many. Yeah. ½ metre pieces needed.
Yeah. On the actual, see, we've packaged it slightly different. So on the you will need list from the supplement, I know you won't be able to read that in detail, but a lot of this actually refers to needing just a fat quarter. There's a lot of these actually, and you're actually getting a ½ metre of a lot of these fabrics, which is incredible in the bundle, which means that you will hang on to them because, of course, again, like all ranges, you know, these will move on and a lot of people will want to get them. Yeah. So using this bundle today, obviously we haven't got time, we haven't got the whole weekend as we have done. We've just had a whole quilting weekend. But what are we going to work on today, Jane?
I thought I'd just go through the basics of making the centre medallion.
Perfect.
It breaks itself down. Yep. It's squares, half square triangles. We've got flying geese units in it, so I'm going to show you the method for making the flying geese with the 1 square and 4 small squares.
Okay.
In the pattern, it tells you to cut all your triangles before you start sewing, which, yes, you can do that, but I'm going to show you the way of using it from squares, just so, obviously, when you cut triangles, you've got a bias. And when you're sewing on a bias, you've got the ability to stretch your fabric and all sorts of things. So by starting with squares and cutting through and sewing through squares, you're reducing that stretchability of your fabric. So in a way, it helps you to get your piecing together a little bit more accurately. Okay.
Fantastic. Right, let's begin then, shall we? You've got everything you need on the screen. By the way, if you want to investigate this bundle, if you're watching us right now on the web at sewingquarter.com, details just over the side of Jane there. CGGC 33 will show you the still of the entire bundle, and we'll actually break down all of the fabrics. Remember, there are 26 different fabrics that you actually have included in that, 22 of which are these Devon County Collection to make up the medallion quilt. Let's not forget as well, you're also getting issue number 29 of Today's Quilter, which does have that supplement that we've been talking about, but it's also a magazine in its own right, of course. It's a regular publication from Immediate Media, and it does have lots and lots of inspiration and tips and projects. You will have leftover fabric from this bundle, so it's a great magazine. A lot of our guest designers that come in actually contribute to Today's Quilter and Simply Sewing and Love Patchwork and Quilting. And so there are always lots and lots of different ideas. And of course, you know, we have an amazing subscription offer on the website at the moment. So if you see your issue that comes with your bundle and think, oh, actually, I should be getting this magazine, then take advantage of the subscription offer that's on our website as well at sewingquarter.com. But lots of inspiration there. But anyway, listen, I'll let you read that when it arrives because we need to do some doing, Jane, don't we?
We do.
How does this fabric compare in its kind of feel and its weight to fabrics that you see?
It's a fantastic quilter's cotton. I mean, it's inspired by the quilt. The Quilters Guild have commissioned it, so that it's a good quality cotton. Nice weight, lovely to work with. Yeah, so it's perfect for quilting, but perfect for dressmaking as well with the lightweight cotton. So, you know, the fabrics are, you know, not just for quilts. If you like the fabric designs, you could make anything with them. So we're going to start with the centre square. It starts with a 4-inch square, and then we're going to make it a square within a square. Okay. So half square triangles. The squares cut that we start with in the cream is cut at 3 3/8. Okay. And then cut in half diagonally. We're going to then position the triangles in opposite to the squares and sew a 1/4 inch either end. Now, to make sure I've got my triangle in the centre of the square, I just fold the triangle in half and give it a pinch, makes a crease in it, and I do the same with the square. So it has a pinch, just fold, makes a little crease in the fabric, and this is then a good marker then to line the creases up so that you know that your triangle is in the middle. So when you come to join it together, you're going to get it nice and square. Great. So I'm just going to sew 1/4 inch.
Are you going to need pressing facilities,
Jane? I am, please, right. Yes.
Okay, because that's my one and only function in life. It's my opportunity to be mildly useful.
I did switch the iron on, so do be careful.
Yeah. Thought it was warm.
Yeah, I'm going to put the other triangle on the opposite. Have
you seen this medallion style before in heritage quilts? Is it quite a symbol, or it's all about actually a centre point, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about a focal
quite
point,
often the heritage quilts are medallion style quilts. It may be a piece of applique in the middle, or a star block like we've got behind us. Yeah. A focal point, and then borders that radiate out using different techniques. And I think quite often it was a sort of a learning piece for the younger ladies. They'd be starting off with a block for the middle and then radiate out, learning as they went, and then that piece would generally form part of their bottom drawer for when they went on to married life.
This is a fascinating story. I had never heard the whole concept of you know, a lady's bottom drawer, because obviously a gentleman wouldn't, you know, wouldn't see sight of such a thing.
No.
But a lady's bottom drawer was all about her. Really, it's
part of her dowry, really, towards her married life.
This is what I have to offer for when, you know, we set up the family home. I've made these beautiful things. I've collected these, you know, heirlooms or whatever they are. And it was actually a physical, like, on a dresser. Is that why the bottom drawer is always deeper in an old dresser? I
think it would be in the girl's bedroom, and it would be the bottom of her dressing table drawer, chest of drawers. Or so quite often they had a chest at the end of the bed, and they would be putting things in
like
there.
An ottoman kind of thing. Yeah.
And that would be sort of where they started to put things in ready for the move from the family home to their marital home. Because quite often in those days, that's what they did. They went from being within the family to being married. There was no sort of like, oh, I'm going off to university or anything like that.
No gap years, no travelling.
No travelling.
It was all from one to the other, wasn't it?
Yeah, so it was sort of preparing themselves for their own homes.
And again, quilt tops. I mean, one, they were functional, weren't they? Because actually, you know, what was inside the quilts, you were saying earlier, the different materials they would use inside the quilts back in the day was whatever would come to hand. The quilt top could cover a multitude of sins in that respect.
Yes, definitely. You know, quite often they would be using wool, bits of fleece and things like that to fill it with.
Yeah.
In some cases, there've been heritage quilts, vintage quilts that have been revealed to have another quilt underneath. Yeah. Because basically they've just put a new top on top of an old quilt.
Yeah, which is quite amazing if you think about it, isn't it? Like, I mean, at the moment in modern day bedding, obviously we have our quilt, as we would think, in the bed, and we have our duvet covers, don't we? And we just change those as we need to, or you know, every week or every fortnight or whatever, and we just do that. And back in the day, when a quilt
wore out, they'd put a new top on it.
They just put a new top on the top, which makes sense, I suppose, doesn't it?
Or put a patch over. You know, if a corner piece had started to wear, they'd make a new patch and just applique that over the top. You know,
I guess
they were very functional. They weren't like we do them now to enhance our house.
Yes.
They were literally, I need a blanket for my bed, I'm going to make a quilt, and I'm going to use the scraps from my husband's shirt or my daughter's dress or my old dress or whatever.
And maybe actually starting at a centre focal point, it's easier to plan out a quilt, isn't it? Because you don't necessarily know how much fabric you have to play with, and you're acquiring it along the way, aren't you, as well?
So this is it. You know, they wouldn't start out like we've got the beautiful bundle today.
Yeah, we buy a bundle of fabric. It's not how it was done back in the day, was it?
They'd have, you know, well, I've got this much fabric this week that I can do this bit with, and then in the spring I'll have some different fabric and things like that.
Yeah, and of course, you know, back in the 1820s, I'm not sure they'd have had the owner sitting by with...
No, it would have all been done by hand sewn, hand quilted, and probably in a spare time, usually the evenings. So it wasn't. Yeah. There wasn't much time for making them
until darkness fell.
Yes.
We've got a lovely question has come in from Karen in Shropshire. She says, Jane, if I buy this kit even, sorry, we're not selling cats, just to be clear. Kit, it's been a very long night. If I buy this kit, should I wash all the fabric first? And if I do wash it first, will the fabric fray and need ironing and starching before use? What would your best advice be?
I'm of the school, there's no right or wrong.
No, it's a personal thing,
It's a personal choice. There will be people that will advocate washing it all first, ironing it and then restarching it. I'm of the school of, I don't want to be wasting time washing and ironing things, so I just get on and cut and sew together. It's a good quality cotton. It's very unlikely that it's going to shrink. And it's quite colour fast as well. If you're worried about the deeper colours, just get a cotton bud with some warm water on and just rub it over the top of the fabric. If the colour's going to come out, it will come out on that cotton bud. And then I would suggest that you do give it a wash. But yeah, it's purely personal. You do what you prefer.
Yeah. Cool, lovely. Any other questions that you have this morning? Because this is a whole new fascinating world to me as well, the whole world of heritage quilting. And it does fascinate me. I love, as I say, I mean, I have a connection with heritage railways in my past. And I love it. And my dad actually used to maintain an airfield a long time ago. Wow. So he has that lovely sort of heritage knowledge, and it's nice to hang on to. It feels like something real to hang on to as well, doesn't it? It
does, and also, you know, it's the basis of what we do now. If it wasn't for those heritage quilts, we wouldn't have the patterns that we have now. It's like the fabrics. We were looking at some of the designs and we were saying, these are quite modern, but actually we know, don't we, from styles of fashion and everything else, nothing is new.
All in cycles.
It just keeps coming around again. And some of the fabrics are contemporary. They would fit quite nicely in modern quilt designs and things. Others are traditional, but there's a place for those as well. Yeah,
no, definitely. But I think you'll have a new look at the way you design from the inspiration that these fabrics give you as well.
Definitely.
It's lovely. I really do.
Because you've got that little bit more in the bundle, you can change the colourways. You know, you don't have to have it the same way as it's the colourways in there. If you're new to quilting and you're not sure about your colour placement, then it's a great way because you know that that's going to work because you can see it's a beautiful quilt.
Yes.
But if you're a bit more experienced quilter, you know that you can just have a play around with the colours and change things around.
Oh, we've got another question from Judith. Hello, Judith. Good morning. She's asking about the finish size of the quilt. It's 80-inch square. It comes out at a finish. Just a quick reminder, when you buy this bundle of the 26 fabrics, it does also come with this supplement which talks to you about heritage quilts and this design and the history of these fabrics indeed as well, and takes you through step by step actually making this very quilt that we're working on right now. And again, as Jane says, you can mix up the colour combinations and the fabric coordinations if you want to. In fact, Jane, you even had a little go at that, didn't
yes,
you?
I did.
Show us a little bit
I'll
later.
show you later on.
Yeah.
Because I like the way that pattern works, I thought, I wonder if I do this. So I had a little play, and using the fabrics from the bundle, I've just come up with a different looking centre medallion. It's exactly the same pattern, but because I've changed the colour placements and things, it gives a different look. It's amazing, and I love that. That's one of the things I love about patchwork the most, is that you can use the same pattern, but different colours and fabrics will give you a different finish.
Yes, and in that respect, just a reminder that actually in the You Will Need list, which is in the supplement, I mean, your bundle more than covers that. In fact, in a lot of cases, you're getting a ½ metre of the fabric. A lot of these, actually, for the actual pattern as it is, are just calling for a fat quarter. In fact, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of the on the ingredients list where actually it just requires a fat quarter, and you're getting a ½ metre. So you can work out and sort of really mix things up if you want to.
I'm going to make the flying geese unit now, which is this one here, which forms the star.
Okay.
In the pattern, it tells you to use a 6 1/4 inch square.
Okay, that's this one, isn't it? Here? Yeah. 6
1/4 inch square and a 3 3/8 square that you cut into half diagonally. With the large square in the pattern, you'd cut that into 4 diagonally, so you'd end up with 4 triangles, and you would piece it together with the triangle and the 2 half square triangles. So the measurements for this method are exactly the same as in the pattern, so I've not changed any measurements. The measurements are the same, it's just the construction that is slightly different.
The method.
The method. And using this method, there's no wastage, so it's exactly the same amount of fabric. And you're using squares, so you're not working on a bias, so there's no chance of stretching it, and hopefully then it should all fit together lovely and without too much. The trouble with triangles is you've got this bias, and you can stretch your fabric as you're sewing it. So 2 squares, which I've drawn the diagonal line on, and placing them in opposite corners. Now it is going to overlap in the middle, so don't worry about that, that's your seam allowance. And I'm now going to sew 1/4 inch either side of both of those of the line.
course, if you need the water erasable pen, you know where to find it. In fact, Hannah may even make the details appear as if by magic.
This is the air erasable one. It doesn't matter which one you use because you're actually going to cut on the line. So
air erasable, does that mean it disappears on its own?
Yeah, it does.
That's amazing.
It's fantastic. Don't use it for your quilt patterns because it'll disappear before you've had time to do your quilting.
Oh, okay, right. Top tip.
Yeah.
So Hannah's just telling me, actually, in the warm studio, it tends to disappear maybe slightly more quickly than it would ordinarily.
Yeah, you've usually got a good day or two before it disappears, but in here it can disappear as you're watching it.
Oh, great. Very helpful.
It's fine, because for this one, it doesn't need to stay. We're using just using it as a guide.
Okay.
So I'm going to then cut on this line. Mm-hmm. And this is at the point where people look at it and go, flying geese, it doesn't look anything like it. We're going to now press these triangles up and away. Mm-hmm. And you end up with two pieces that I always think they look like hearts. So you've got two pieces like that. You then take your next two squares and you place those in the corner at the bottom of your fabric. The large square is always the square that makes the geese shape. So your that shape there, the larger triangle.
Let me bring that back so you can see it.
The larger triangle there is the larger square.
Okay.
And then the smaller squares are the ones that form the half square triangles either side. So when you're working out your colour placement and where you want your fabrics to go, that's how you remember that the large square is the one that's in the middle, if you like, of the flying geese unit.
So again, the same thing, you're just going to sew the
quarter of an inch either side.
Leslie's dropped us a little email into studio@sewingquarter.com. And she has said, "Morning, Derek and Jane."
Good morning, Leslie.
I love the demos with you, Jane.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's it. Short and sweet. Bless you. Thank you.
That's very nice. Thank you very much.
Yes, this is good, actually, because this piece here gives you the same elegant finish with a slightly quicker journey.
Yes. And as I've said, for me, it's all about quick placement. I suppose because I'm usually making things quite quickly for samples for the shop and things like that, I'm always looking for the quickest way of doing things. But, we all like to make quilts differently, and some people enjoy the slow process. And there's nothing to stop you making this quilt by hand. With the pattern pieces, you can sew it by hand as easily as by machine. You don't have to do it over papers, or you could make templates and do it over papers if you wish to. You'd have to make your own templates, but you can use the same pattern pieces to sew by hand if you mark your quarter of an inch on your
So you're going right down the middle line. We'll catch it the next time.
Yeah.
It happened so quickly.
Sorry.
Jane's working like lightning this one. No, it's fine.
Can we got it this time?
We've just have fewer cameras today.
Yeah.
There you go.
So I'm cutting on that diagonal line again, and then we'll press. You've got your 4 units then, and we press that triangle away and up from the unit. So we end up with 4 flying geese.
So the only difference is that you're not cutting out as many pieces at the beginning, so you're doing less piecing. No, I'm keeping it.
Where in the instructions it'll say cut a 6 1/4 inch triangle, and then this, I think this one's called Kimberley, or it might be it's the V one. We're on the wrong
page.
Sorry, no, it's Dorothy. The brown fabric is called Dorothy, and it says cut to 6 1/4 inch squares and cut in half diagonally twice. So I've just admitted the cut in half diagonally twice. Okay, I've kept it as the square. So we've got the 4 flying geese units now.
Well, actually, this has got a really nice fabric key on it, which will be worth us having a good look at as well when we go back to the bundle, because it actually breaks down each one of the designs. In fact, I'll remind you of them when we go back to the bundle in a wee while, actually. Yeah. So I'll save that. Oh, I'm going to show you some instructions as well as we're going along, just so that you know the supplement that comes with this. You won't be on your own. You won't have to come back, and you will want to come back anyway and watch the YouTube demonstration. But you won't just have a big bundle of fabric and say, there you go, good luck, and a picture of the quilt. You've actually got step-by-step instructions, which is brilliant. And they very comprehensive.
They're very comprehensive, very clear. Mm-hmm. They give you exactly which fabric to use for which piece. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The fabric has a name, yes, but they've also, in the key, they've given it a letter. Yes. So you can quite easily work out which one to put where, according to the instructions. Yeah. I think it's lovely that the fabrics have got names.
Bottom of this page. Yes, it's great, isn't it? And they are lovely. And you try and conjure up a picture of that person by looking at the fabric and the name they've given the fabric, and you try and conjure up an image of that person. That's right. Right. So we've built up quite nicely here, haven't we?
We're now going to sew the 2 flying geese this side to the middle square, and we've got 4 squares cut at 3 inches, mm-hmm, that we're then going to sew 2 to that flying geese unit and, mm-hmm, 2 to that flying geese unit. Okay. So I'll just do that quickly.
Now, at what stage, amateur speaking here, as you know, Jane, we've had this discussion already this morning, at which stage do you disregard your dog ears?
You disregard, again, this is very much personal choice. You can do it as soon as you've made the unit. You can square it up, take the dog ears off and everything then. Yes. Or you can use them as a marker point. You can use those as another way of lining up your points to help you with your fabric placement. Mm-hmm. You see on here, to help, it's not very near to the point, but those, mm-hmm, ears there lined up, yes, will help me put that centrally. Okay. It hasn't done it on this one, of course, because it never does when you're talking.
Because it's live TV.
About it.
That's because I was talking to you at the same time.
But you've also got, I don't know if we can see that on here, mm-hmm, where your 2 seam lines, Mitch, you've got like a cross. Yeah. If you make sure that you're sewing just above that cross there, yes, it means that you're not going to lose the point of your flying goose unit. Right. So again, it's another sort of marker point to keep you in the right place. Yeah. It's fascinating, isn't it? There's because it doesn't matter. You can unpick it if you wish. If you feel it's not in the right place, you can unpick it and mm-hmm, sew it again. Yeah. But generally speaking, you know, if it's only a few threads out, yeah, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Mm-hmm. You know, by the time it's quilted and on the bed, mm-hmm, you're not going to even remember that it wasn't quite in the centre.
And actually, doesn't it, especially with a heritage design and heritage style fabrics, actually it is going to add to the whole character of the overall finish, isn't it?
Yes, I think so.
I love the quilting, actually. You probably can't see it. We'll try and get you later. We'll try and get sort of closer. But this has got wonderful sort of almost like rose quilting, hasn't it? All of the way through it, which is
looking at beautiful. It, I think it's been long arm quilted. Yes. Which for a quilt that size is probably sensible.
Yes, I think so. Yeah, because that's an 80-inch square there. So
you could do it quilt as you go method by quilting the centrepiece and then adding your borders on quilt as you go.
Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Tim. Yes, you can see it there. Wonderful. Looks great as well. It really does. It's very effective.
Beautiful design.
Yeah. Thank you. Right.
So I'm just sewing the squares on the other side of the flying geese units. So in effect, we're making 3 rows and then we'll sew the rows together.
Great. This, I must get the name of, which did we say? Was it Donald, the square fabric there? Let me find it. There's a fabric key in your little supplement.
The blue square one.
No, the brown one.
Oh, the brown one is Dorothy.
Dorothy. It's like And it's difficult to describe the imagery on it, actually, because it's actually very minute in detail, which was the thing, wasn't it, back in the day? It was very, very tiny images. We saw it on the original Liberty designs as well. The florals were tiny, ever so tiny. And then when they were reissued, they made them slightly bigger. So I'd imagine that the original sort of fabrics that these were inspired by, maybe the imagery was even smaller, but it's kind of, how would you describe those? Because it's almost sort of arrowhead
to me, they look like fern leaves.
Yes.
And then dots of a deep pink, a mustard yellow, and a paler pink interspersed.
Oh, fantastic.
And then they're like little, like you said, like little arrowheads underneath.
And then you're connecting that to Kimberley?
It's Kimberley, I think.
Yes, I think it's Kimberley. There's two Kimberleys,
isn't it?
isn't
Yes, there's two Kimberleys. It's Kimberley with the yellow
Kimberley
flower.
H.
Because there's a Kimberley with a red flower as well.
Yes.
So I've got these units made, so one to the top and one to the bottom. Now what I've done is I've pressed the seams going in on the bottom and top units, and the seams going out on the middle unit. And again, this helps with joining up your corners.
Less bulk.
Less bulk, and it also gives, they sort of lock into each other, so should, in theory, give you a nice crisp meeting point.
Now, in terms of, in terms of wadding and backing, because of course the whole bundle that we have is for the quilt top itself. So, what else would you recommend for the? Well,
for a quilt that size, for backing fabric, you're going to need 4 meters of fabric.
Right. Okay.
Depending on how you feel about the cost of that, you could use a calico on the back, which would reduce the price slightly for the backing.
Could we go for something like one of our Macawa solids as well? Because obviously it is the underside, and quilts, to all intents and purposes these days, are more decorative than functional, aren't they?
Yes, yeah.
So it's important to have the right material inside, I guess, for the look of the quilting and the depth of the quilting, but the backing is maybe
less of a priority.
Yes.
I have known ladies that have used bed sheets, cotton bed sheets, for their backing of their quilts because it gives them the right size piece of fabric. You know, if it's a cost thing, you know, and we all have to prioritise where we're going to spend our money.
Yes.
So it's a nice cheaper version, you know, cheaper way of getting the fabric at the right size as well, because if you have the meterage that we have, the width of the fabric, you would need to join it. So you'd have a seam, and I don't recommend you putting the seam down the middle of your quilt either. Try and offset it slightly, because we tend to fold our quilts down the middle, and obviously that's a weak point then where the seam is.
Yes, because that essentially makes it a heavy traffic point, doesn't it, when it's being moved around. Let's just have a quick sort of gloss over, well, I say gloss over, but a closer look at the fabrics that are in the bundle itself. Now, obviously, there are some Macawa solids aside this, but we want to have a real focus of all of those sort of feature fabrics, and they have the most incredible names. There are those two Kimberleys, we just saw those as well. Wonderful colours, lovely imagery, that lovely yellow and blue check. I'm going to bring them, is that Mark, is it? Oh, I'm glad it's a boy's name, actually, for that one, because actually I really do want a shirt in that, Jane. We were talking about that this morning. It's a beautiful, beautiful fabric in the bundle. I'll run through the entire bundle. I kind of want to do it now, but we will do it a little bit later on, because the fabrics are delicious, and we will have another second hour to do that as well. It's great to get.
So we've got the middle star there. Yeah. So now I'm going to show you how to make this.
Let's bring the original in just for a second.
We're going to make this unit here now.
Okay, so we've just completed, we'll show you Jane's completed this centre square here. Can you see that?
Yeah, if I put that next to it, you can see.
So we're going to show you this. So there's Jane's completed centre, and we're heading next to
this unit here, which is like a flying geese unit, and it is made up of a flying geese unit there, a quarter square triangle and 2 half square triangles, and then 2 larger half square triangles.
So actually where this might, on first glance, look a little bit intimidating when you're using this beautiful, beautiful fabric that you've invested heavily in, it's actually some very familiar techniques to get started here, isn't it?
The quilt itself is made up of half square triangles, flying goose units and squares. There's an hourglass block, quarter square triangle in the corner units, which I'll talk about later on.
Very good. Well, actually, along a similar vein, almost as if I read your mind, Becky in Cambridgeshire, who has said, "Morning all, love the show. I've got a question. I'm getting into quilting. How easy would this quilt be for someone who is a beginner?"
It would be easy for a beginner. It would be a good way of learning new techniques. The only thing that I think may put them off potentially as a beginner is the size of it.
Right. Yes, because 80
it's a large quilt to start with.
Could you scale it?
You could make it smaller by not adding as many borders on. You know, you could do your centre block, and if you wanted, once you'd done your centre block and felt, yeah, I'm okay with that, there's nothing to stop you just putting plain borders around it.
Actually, Chris, have you got that? Here it is, that magical tape measure. Because I'm just thinking, if you just took it to the red border here, I'm wondering what size square that would be. You'd be looking at...
Yeah, it's about 50,
just under, around about 50 inches. That's pinned up on a corner now. So you could reduce that down up to this red border here. So taking the centre block and then coming out with these half squares here, and then stop at this border if you wanted to edge it to there.
Yeah, you could.
But I think once you'd got started with this, I think once you'd achieved this, I think you'd just be yearning to do all of the rest, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right.
It probably wouldn't be... well, I don't know. I was going to say maybe not for your very first quilt, but there's no reason not to make it your very first quilt. You just need to take your time, follow the instructions. The instructions in the book are fabulous.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think as a beginner, there's no reason why you shouldn't give it a go.
Okay.
I don't think it would put you off. I don't think there's anything in it that you think, oh, God, I can't do this.
Well,
I'm sticking it in the back of the
some
cupboard.
of these things were things that I was sewing for the first time yesterday, and I'm not even a beginner. So, actually, if that's any help... Before we just go on to this, Jane, let's cover wadding, because we talked about backing, so let's just quickly talk about wadding, just in case we run out of time. What would you recommend?
Again, it's down to personal preference. Right. There's so many waddings out there, but a nice... Because it's going to be a quilt that you will probably use as an heirloom. You've got, I think that's the Warm and Natural, which is 100% cotton, is it? I'm
just checking, actually. Is this the 100% cotton one? Yes, I think it is, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's 124 inches by 120. My word, so that's king size.
Yeah, that's going to be big enough for your piece. The cotton wadding is lovely. It's got a little bit of weight to it, so it gives it a nice drape. You can get wool wadding. Yes, we have got one as well, actually. So let's give you the details for that one. UCRW 20. That's your Warm and Natural batting in the king size. The image on the website, by the way, might be slightly different. I think it's Rhinetex, is it? Yeah, Rhinetex have changed their packaging. So we've got the new packaging, but the old imaging on our website. So if you want that one, which is a king size, which you can see all the details for, 3.2 by 3 metres as well, which is a huge, huge amount. And here we've got, so 100% wool batting. Nice, like it. Wool batting is nice and light. It is lightweight, isn't it, compared to the cotton? It gives a beautiful finish, and it's got a lovely warmth. Now, the thing about wool is it's warm in the winter but cool in the summer. Yes, because it's a natural fibre, because it's a natural fibre. And obviously, with it being a natural fibre, there could be the chance of shrinkage. And the same with the cotton. So I think with both of these, there is, they do recommend that you give it a wash before you put it in. And obviously, once you've made your quilt, treat it like a wool blanket, a cool, gentle wash. And don't wash it, you know. And again, all down wash it every week. Personal preference. Jane, I hate to say those awful, awful words that we detest hearing here, but we've literally got about 2 minutes. Right. Well, I'll just do a quick. I know you're back for another hour later, which is great. But I'll just do a quick description. So you've got your flying goose unit here. You add on. Bring that one back here so we can see where we're heading to. There you go. Your 2 half square triangles to the sides of your unit. Yeah. Once you've sewn those on, you add on the quarter square triangle, and you're making a larger quarter square triangle, and then you add on these half square triangles there. So that makes that unit like this. Look, ta-da! Ta-da!
Fantastic.
The squares, you just have to bear in mind with the squares that you're going to need.
So you've got squares on either side here.
You've got 2 squares and a rectangle. Now, you just need to bear in mind that you need to have 2 facing, when you're making it, 2 facing to the right and 2 facing to the left.
Okay.
You join the 2 squares together.
Yes.
A plain and the patterned.
Like
right. So.
Yes.
And then you add, let me just make a bit more space so you can see it.
Yes.
So you've got your 2 squares joined together like that, and then you add your rectangle to the bottom, if you like. And then make sure that you've got a unit with the square on the opposite side.
Fabulous.
So you end up with a square.
Jane,
Either side there.
thank you. We will be back. Any questions you have, anything that we didn't quite cover there, because, you know, time is always our enemy, of course, please do get in touch. Jane is back with us at 10 o'clock as well. Teresa says, well done, Jane and Derek, and all the team for bringing the show today. Well done to all,
There's
Teresa.
the other colourway, just to show you.
And Jane made this in a different colourway combination as well, so just you get a little bit of an idea. Will you bring those back at 10 o'clock as well, so we can have a better look at that? But let's you and I go back over and look at the selection of the fabrics that we've got. We've got a fabulous, fabulous bundle. It's 26 different fabrics, 22 of which are this Devon County Collection from the Quilters Guild. I knew I'd do that the wrong way. So I'll let you have a little whiz through. Where are you? There you are. Whiz through some of those. Sorry, looking at the wrong camera. So you have your Annies, your Marys, Susans, Janes, Kimberleys, Lois. They've got amazing evocative names as well, all based on those original fabrics of the heritage quilts of the 1800s. Just beautiful. My favourite, there's Mark. I want a shirt in Mark. I think that's absolutely fantastic. But you've got so many here. So you have James and Mark, and you've got Robin, and there's Matthew, and they've got amazing names. William, and you've got your Macawa solids in there as well. There's a wonderful, rich pistachio green. Everything to do the quilt top. And the instructions, Rich, remember, are in the supplement that come with it. So you get an edition of today's Quilter magazine with this supplement, and that supplement includes the complete plan, the complete what you need, and your step-by-step guide of how to actually make. So everything Jane's just been going through, you see you've got step-by-step for the complete quilt as well. So all of that, £215 and 49 pence, plus much more inspiration from today's Quilter magazine as well. Lots of you have checked out on that already. I am not surprised at all. Right, okay. Wow, that went quickly, didn't it? Next, it's the So Special and an overlocking masterclass. Your chance to buy the most affordable overlocker you've ever seen here at the Sewing Quarter. It's 3 minutes away, so don't go far.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love.
Hi, I'm Paul Clark, and here are my 3 top tips for dressmaking. My first top tip is the way I pin fabric. I always pin parallel to the edge of the fabric, so it gives me a visible sewing line when I'm stitching. My second top tip is pinning a garment together and then trying it on before you do actually do any sewing. That way you can make sure if there's any fit adjustments you need to make. My third top tip is when sewing a curve, such as an underarm seam, sew it first, then trim it as close as you can to that original sewing, and it will stop any puckering underneath the arms.
It's easy to buy the products you see on our shows. To buy any of the items featured on today's programmes, just head over to our website www.sewingquarter.com. Click on the video stream and you'll be taken to our watch page. Here you'll find the product that is on air right now at the top of the page. Beneath that, you'll find all the products demonstrated in this morning's shows. To add an item to your basket, simply log into your account or register with us. Then you can either check out or keep shopping. Remember, our flat rate delivery charge lets you shop all day and check out as many times as you like and only pay once for postage and packing. Only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78. Tune in at 9 AM on Wednesday the 13th of December to see Victoria Peat recreate this gorgeous rainbow hexes cushion by Joe Westfoot. Featured in the brand new edition of Love Patchwork and Quilting, this machine applique cushion is a great way to experiment with colour. Victoria will also be enlarging the design into a coordinating quilt, and she'll be sharing her expert advice to help you along the way. It's the perfect project to work on during your post-Christmas downtime and a great way to add a splash of colour into your home. So join Victoria on Wednesday the 13th of December for this fun project, only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
Or good afternoon, it might be, because you might be watching this a little bit later on Facebook. You might be watching it live on Facebook. My name's Derek, and there's a long story as to why I'm here on a Monday morning. It's something to do with snow, but she's managed to brave the snow as well. Lovely Amanda Wyatt is with us. Hi, Amanda.
Hello, nice to meet you.
Yes, you too.
First
as well.
time.
No, it is as well, and you're very much taller than I am as well.
John always complains about it when I'm wearing
It's all right. It's fine and dandy. I'm so glad you were here for the Sew Special because, well, we didn't think you were going to make it for one because, you know, a little bit snowy.
It wasn't too bad once we got off the estate.
No, absolutely. But this is a bit of a dream of a Sew Special as well, isn't it? And it really is your bag as well, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
What we're about to do. So I think I should probably just reveal, shouldn't I? Oh, actually, I don't know, this looks a bit wrong now, doesn't it? I'm putting this away from Amanda, like Amanda has got something to reveal. But what we are going to reveal is a phenomenal Elna Overlocker. Now, we have never seen this one before at all. This one is premiere to us here at the Sewing Quarter. We have seen other overlockers previously. But let me tell you, this is going to be, and it's come along. I mean, we were literally just saying in the break there, if it's day 11 of the Sew Special, that means it's day 11 of December. That means in a fortnight's time, we'll be back in Christmas jumpers and it'll be all hands to the pump for the Christmas dinner.
Oh, yes, we'll be up and
let's
champagne
have a little look at what we have. Now,
Okay.
if I can ask you just to step back for just a second, just so we can get a gorgeous, gorgeous shot of this overlocker. Here it is. It's an Elna overlocker, and it is the Elna 664 overlocking sewing machine. And here is your price tag. It is the best value overlocking sewing machine that we have ever offered here at the Sewing Quarter. It is also extremely limited in stock. I have to do two things about this. First of all, it's extremely limited in stock. It's taken us a long, long time to speak to Elna to actually get this in stock in the quantity that we needed. And two, we have a Sew Special price, which will boing back up tomorrow. So I think, to be honest with you, I think by the middle of the afternoon, by the time people who haven't been able to be with us live catch up on the website and via the Facebook feed and everything else, I think we will be saying goodbye to the entirety of our stock, which might cause our buyers a little bit of an issue, but hey-ho, it's Christmas. That's their problem, not ours, which is great. So you have the opportunity. And we have seen overlockers, Amanda, previously from Elna. What is the difference with this one? Because we're looking at a much, much better sort of value for money that we have here. But will it still do everything that we want it to do?
Okay, yeah, well, here we've got the 664, like you say. We've done the 664 Pro before.
Yes.
So we use these in the studios as well.
Okay.
Back where at my shop.
Yes.
And we call this the baby of the family.
Yeah.
And it's by no means sort of like anything weaker or anything like that. It's a fantastic little machine. The only difference between the 664 and the 664 Pro, if I open it up, it is thread exactly the same.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's really good, easy threading system. The only difference being is that this is a 3 and 4 thread overlocker. You don't get the 2 thread option. So don't panic about going, oh, well, if I'm not going to miss out on that. 2 thread overlocking is literally for decorative purposes. Right. So it's not going to encompass any of your construction, any of your finishings whatsoever. So it's, dare I sort of say, because the 664 Pro people might sort of go, it's, you don't use a 2 thread overlocking that often. Right. So as I say, literally just gives you a decorative finish. Listen, the other thing just for an absolute, not even a novice actually, someone who's had a sewing machine for all of their life maybe, who's heard, you've been to the shows and heard all of this, you know, overlocker, has heard this phrase, had looked at the machines, never really had the courage to say to somebody, first of all, what is an overlocker and what does it actually do for us? Just give us a little, for those, and forgive me if you are in the know, but if you're not and you're not familiar, sorry, shall I move over here so we can see both of us? Sorry. We're losing Amanda in the graphics there a little bit. But so if you will, just overlocker for me. Overlocker, the overview of it. Yeah. For me, when I first had a go, they are predominantly for dressmakers. Right. Okay. And when I first had a go on one sort of about 6 or 7 years ago, when I was doing a lot of dressmaking for my daughter and things like that, it's a game changer. Right. They really are a game changer. From the moment that I had to go on one, I've got to have one. And from that moment in time, I never have bought a piece of ready-to-wear clothing since. Really? Yeah, they are so much a game changer. Okay, so physically, what will it do that my sewing machine wouldn't? Okay, it will construct and it will finish your garments inside really neatly, really professionally. It will then, that's when we use it on the 4 thread and the 2 needles. Or you can then just literally finish your seams so they don't fray. It takes out that process of having to do a zigzag or an overcast, which is more than acceptable, but it can be quite timely consuming. These just whip through things really good. Okay, well, I think so that's the very basics. Yes, okay, well, I think sometimes the proof in the pudding is the eating, isn't it? So it is. You fancy a munch? Yeah. Have a little go. Show me what it can do. Okay. I'll be honest, I've never seen an overlocker, so for me this is absolutely brand new, and if it's the same for you, if you've heard it, you've been to the shows, you've had a sewing machine for years, you hand sew, and people have said to you, you really should get an overlocker, you know, but you've always thought, oh, well, yeah, but I need to know what it does. I need to know, you know, how to use it, whether I am going to use it, am I going to get use out of it? Because, you know, it is another investment, isn't it? £250. And they are an investment and a really good investment. And as I say, for value for money, we sell loads of these because they are just so robust. Yes. Elna are the top end of sort of the domestic market. You can get cheaper models, but you get what you pay for. Yeah. I do lots and lots of get to know you masterclass overlockers, and we've had cheaper versions of different manufacturers in, and people aren't happy with them. They're quite tinny, quite plasticky. You're going to get a really robust machine with this. All right, quickly, just before Jane jumps in, let's have a little look just at the list of technical features there. I will read them without necessarily understanding what these things mean. So it's an instant rolled hem device, in fact, actually, shall we talk through all of these things? A self-threading lower looper, maximum speed of 1300 revs per minute, colour-coded threading routes, which is obviously a benefit, cutting blade, adjustable foot pressure, snap-on presser feet, telescopic thread antenna system, electronic foot control, exclusive Elna accessory box, we like the sound of that, dust cover, and you've got the list of different stitches that you can do there as well, including rolled hem, overlock, thread wide, stretch knit. Now, we have got a very, very special price tag here.
for you, and it is just for the So Special today. It is launching today. If you do have any questions, by the way, we will be spending the whole of this hour talking about this overlocker, seeing this overlocking machine working. This is the best value overlocking machine we have ever bought you here at the Sewing Quarter. We have various thread bundles to show you later. We'll get to that later. But if you have any questions, there are two ways of getting them to us. You can go onto the website, sewingquarter.com, and to that side of us, there should be a little grey oval box which says message the studio or something like that. You can drop a message in to Amanda or myself there, or you can email in right now, studio@sewingquarter.com. It's really important, I think, that a lot of people who want to take that next step to an overlocker, if you have any questions whatsoever, then please do get them in right now. Sorry, Amanda, I interrupted.
Okay, no, that's fine. What I was going to go through is this is exactly what you would get when it arrives.
Right.
So that's why I've not, and it's even still got the paper on this morning, so I've not touched it whatsoever. So this is what you get when it arrives. It will come with 4 threads. I bet they are quite small, so you will need to get yourself a set of threads.
Right.
I always recommend you will always need 4 black, 4 white, and then from there you can then use the greys as a really good blender. Colour-wise, you can then go on to just buying literally 3 of anything because you can mix and match them. Yeah. Okay. So we always have the telescopic guide up because it stops the threads from actually tangling. You will then have, these will already be on, okay, and these are just literally cone guides. So when you're using larger cones, because obviously these are mine, and I bought them in to be colour-coded, because when we start overlocking, it sort of shows a lot easier. Yes. So if you're only using smaller cones, you can actually just remove those, okay? And as I say, these just literally stop it from bouncing around.
Okay, so it's pretty universal in terms of your size.
Okay. It will come set up completely manufacturer settings, okay? So when you want to then, the easiest way is literally take your thread one at a time and just tie on, okay? So we always work from right to left when we're doing an overlocker. And the 2 on the right are your upper and your lower loopers. Now, the upper and the lower loopers basically act sort of like knitting pins, okay?
Can I ask you just to step this way just a little bit, Amanda, just so that we can sneak in a little look behind you and see what you're doing? Okay. Fabulous. Sorry, thank you, darling.
So I've threaded up the upper and the lower looper, and as you say, they are colour-coded, all right? So you'll lift the presser foot, and if you actually just crank back, this is the needle wheel here. So if you crank that back, okay, it'll release the actual clutch, and you'll already have a small area of chained thread.
Hang on, we're coming. There we go. There it is. Okay. So this part here,
So by cranking the wheel backwards, it releases the clutch. And that way, you will then be able to just give a little pull, and all that chain will actually then release, and you'll just have 4 straight threads. Yeah, okay. Don't worry about putting on your 2 needle threads, because if you tie them on, you're going to get stuck when you get to the eye of the needle anyway, and you're going to then have to cut them because you won't get the knot through. So, and it's very simple to actually thread up the needles. It's just like your regular sewing machine. So it just literally, as you just pull, give it a little bit of encouragement through the thread guides at the top. Yes. Okay. Have your presser foot, and because it's nice and new, it's still quite stiff. Yeah. Okay. So just pull that through. Okay. And whether the camera can just then see that it's starting to pull those through. Yeah.
That's it. We've got it now. We've changed colour.
And so you're basically then you've got your upper and your lower loopers threaded. Okay. Okay. So if the camera can get inside, it literally shows the colour codes that you've got to go to. So from the green, okay, so this is your lower looper. This is usually the trickier of the ones. If it does come undone.
So you're taking a journey from the top.
So you're just literally coming through the tension guide discs, down through the little thread guide, and again you've got a little hook to go behind, and then 2 little circle discs to actually thread it through. Then you'll have a little arrow on this wheel that goes upwards. If you press that up, it will then expose a little green hook for you to
wow.
go behind.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you've also got another little hook and then through the eye of the needle. So as I say, that is the most longer process to actually go through. Your upper looper then literally comes back down the same way, goes under one hook,
Yeah.
and goes up to the needle. Okay, there's a tiny little hook on the arm.
Yeah.
Through here,
Yeah.
and the thread just needs to go behind that little wire hook through there.
Just talk us through that journey just while we're on that shot again. Just talk us, maybe do a pointer.
So literally it's coming down through the thread guide.
Great.
Underneath this hook.
Yeah.
Goes straight up and just goes behind this wire.
Yeah.
My trotter's in the way. So
all right.
there. Okay. And then it just goes behind that hook.
Yeah.
And then you thread it through the eye of the needle through there.
Okay. Right, great.
All right. If at any point it breaks, okay, in your little pack, you'll have your invaluable long tweezers. So they will really help you get in to those areas. And again, you can sort of thread it through the eye and then use those to pull through.
Okay. They're just a pair of round-nosed tweezers, actually.
Yeah, but they're nice and long, so they really are valuable.
And actually, if your machine, if you need to sort of de-fluff in the future, you'll be able to pick out, obviously with it switched off.
You've got a long screwdriver, a bigger screwdriver. This is to, you will at some point probably need to take the foot plate off because they do create an awful lot of dust. Okay, so just by uncranking that one screw, you'll be able to get inside.
Great.
You also then have some little hairnets.
It's like...
Okay, whether you want to wear these yourself, I'm not sure. But okay, they literally will go over your cones, okay, and it just stops the thread from tangling. To be honest, I've never used them.
Okay, so
but they're there.
I'll just do that slower so you can see. So they are almost like, you used to get like fruit or something wrapped up in things like this, didn't you? And you just put them over your spools.
Yeah. You've then got your spool
caps. Like the Christmas trees are wrapped in, yes.
You've got your spool caps.
Yeah.
Okay, that's if you're using smaller threads. So these are overlocking threads, and it is important when you are dressmaking that you do use overlocking threads because thread comes in a different weight to our normal all-purpose. The all-purpose comes in a 40 weight. These are 120. So the higher at the number, the finer the thread.
Right.
So people might sort of think, well, if it's really fine, is it going to actually hold my garments? But because you're putting 4 together, that's where it gets the strength from.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can use your normal purpose all over thread if you want to, but more for decorative purposes. I wouldn't actually put it into a construction seam because it just makes it too bulky.
Can I just very quickly, just the other side of you have a piece which has been overlocked. Can I just grab that just to show the camera? Because I think sometimes this can be the final piece of the jigsaw almost that clicks into place. So what an overlocker creates is that beautiful finishing, isn't it?
Okay, so this is what we did last time when I was with John. And this is why I tend to use the different coloured threads because it then actually shows where every thread will sit.
Okay, right,
So this is the actual top side, okay, because you've got your yellow, which is the upper looper.
Yes.
Okay. And then you've got your red, which is your right-hand needle. And then you've got the blue, which is your left-hand needle. And then when you turn it under, that's your green, which is your lower looper.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when people say to me, does it matter which way round, which side I've put the fabric in? It doesn't really. However, if you want it to be really nice, I always think that's the prettiest side. So if you put your fabric through print side up, that will be the right side.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
It also comes into fruition of, unfortunately, at some point we do have to unpick. Okay. And it also helps if you are doing alterations on your own clothes as well, that obviously manufacturing uses overlocking. So by understanding where each thread actually sort of sits will make it easier to actually undo in the long run. Okay. So if you need to unpick,
we're going in.
If you need to unpick, you need to release the actual needle threads. Okay. So I haven't got an unpicker, but I'll use my scissors. Okay, so if we go underneath, so I've just flicked out the right-hand needle thread. That will then, if I tug on that, I'll just cut the other end. So if you've got a long run, what I tend to do is just literally crack it so many inches up. So if you pull that then, that will then release it. Okay. You then take your left-hand needle. Okay, just flick out that end again, just crack it a little bit further up, and you'll then be able to pull that area through, and your top and bottom looper will then just fall away. So it's very, very rewarding when you do that. Whereas if you were to try, and you're not sure which one you're doing, and you try and pull the green thread, you're
just pulling it all together.
It just literally...
You're making it worse, aren't you?
Yeah, and you'll be there for ages and get really frustrated.
First question in, Amanda, from Anne in Surrey. Good morning, and thank you, Amanda, for making it in today. Love this. If I order now, will I receive before Christmas? Oh, well, I can answer that one for you. Absolutely, yes, and completely. You have our word on that. That's why we've done it now on day 11. I know we are exactly 14 days from Christmas Day, but actually the majority of these days are accessible days, you know, barring, you know, things like, what do they call it in the papers? A snow bomb that we had. And it certainly was in Birmingham, let me tell you. Good Lord. But yes, absolutely. 3 to 5 days, we promise, this will be with you in plenty of time. So if you are gift buying for someone else, we have got some thread bundles for this to show you in a wee while as well. We've got 4 different colours, actually. You recommended we start with the black and whites, didn't you,
Black and white. Yeah. I always say black and white you will use lots of.
Yeah.
A grey is a great one to actually then just blend into your different colours. Navy is a good one, red's a good one. The other nice one is a cream as well. That will blend really easily. And there's nothing to say that when you are overlocking, I can't think what I did on this one. I have got a pink in it. But yeah, you can actually, there's nothing to say, like on jerseys, when they're white on the inside, you can go 3 white and then a pink, because that's what's going to sort of like show. Yes. So that's why you don't need to buy 4 of everything when you start building up your
right. So it's only the one that you're actually really.
If you do sort of see it, yeah.
You have me going to look there. Yeah. Of course, you won't see it on a jumper, will you? Really? Especially a Christmas jumper. So if you have any questions whatsoever for Amanda, because I'm just literally Amanda has the floor for the whole hour in this hour, completely and utterly, because I'm learning completely from the ground
up. Well, I did say you could sit and have a cup of tea, because I do 6 hours on an overlocker normally.
No, it's great, because I think a lot of people have actually wondered. Actually, even if they've started making their own bits and pieces, I think a lot of people have heard the phrase, have maybe... I mean, I get a sheet through from the local lady where I live in North Yorkshire, who does classes, getting to know your overlocker, understanding your overlocker, you know, masterclass or whatever it might be. Yeah. And I think, oh, if only I knew what an overlocker
as I say,
did.
they're absolutely fantastic. I mean, we did a Christmas, like a holiday Christmas pyjama course the other week, and most of the ladies, I think, hadn't used an overlocker then, but it was like we had them all set up, and it was like, this just shows you how quick they are to do, and we just whipped these Christmas Eve pyjama bottoms up, no problem.
And I bet they all had to have an overlocker on the way out as well.
Yeah.
Oh, there's my Christmas present sorted.
I mean, it will as well. I mean, yeah, again, got my tissue stuffed up my on this top. Okay, so it's a regular sleeve, and where the camera can get in. So I've done this on the overlocker as well. So it looks as though there's like a cuff on it, but what it is just literally, I've overlocked the seam together, the band together, and then so you can actually hem as well with it. Okay, so it's just literally by putting, once I get it threaded up, you would put your hem together. So you turn up your hem, turn it back on itself, and then you would then take the section all down, but you would disengage the knife just in case you did catch it. And that way, when you actually fold it back, it then just gives you that little band. And so then I just top stitch around just to hold that overlocking in place. So it's really good for hemming as well. So if I go on and do the needles then. So the needles, again, you come through under your thread guides.
Okay.
Down through your tension.
Just hang
Yeah,
fire
I suppose
one second.
I'm so quick on this.
We're waiting for the appropriate camera. So you've just taken red and the blue through, haven't you? Yeah.
This is why this is really good. It's like a really quick threading. So you just literally click it underneath, through the tension discs, underneath the bottom hook, and then this silver bar here, there's actually a slot behind it, and so you're just literally coming up behind, over the top of this hook, okay? And then it goes down into, you've got two little thread guides, so it goes into its right-hand guide, behind the thread guide, and we are then going to thread the needle.
And actually, just hang on again 1 second, if you will, because we're just going to get a closer shot in there. But just to let you know, in the full instructions that come with this, you've got that full guide actually in black and white, and it literally does follow the journey of the thread all of the way through. So, of course, you can come back to the YouTube video of this and watch this. In fact, we've just heard from Margaret as well. Mags in Lancashire, morning. Well done for getting in. I have this Overlocker. It's an excellent machine and comes with a very good manual. It does. And Elna has an amazing backup behind it, Amanda, as well, doesn't it? Yeah, because they are fantastic. Because they're one of the biggest names in the business, aren't they?
They are.
Right.
Okay, so exactly the same with your left hand.
Yes.
Okay, so down through the tension discs.
Okay.
Underneath the corresponding hook underneath.
Yeah.
Up through behind this slot. So
yes.
if I,
yeah, we can see that going behind.
Yeah. Do you want me to do that one again?
No, it's all right. No, we can see it.
Yeah.
Carry on.
Up to the top, over the top like the last one, and this one then just goes into the left-hand little hoop.
Yes.
Behind the thread guide.
Oh, yeah.
And then thread your needle. Now, if you're not too good with your needle threading, okay.
Yeah, this is the bit I'm interested in.
You have got, okay, this
You have got a needle threader.
Needle threader, okay. So this end, you can actually use to drop your needle in. You've got spare needles.
Yeah.
So when we take them in and out, it's really handy.
Yeah, I tell you what, you're testing all of Tim's amazing skills with the robot camera behind you. It's very good.
So you can actually then sit that in there. It gives you a free hand with your little fine needle.
Yeah.
So then you can when you're sort of putting the needle in and out, okay, you've got sort of a little bit of leverage on that one.
I must admit, it looks like dentistry.
Okay. So you do get spare needles with your overlocker as well. Yeah. And it is important to use overlocking needles, okay?
Right. Difference being?
Just the way that they're constructed, and the eye of the needle is just a little bit bigger as well, so it does make it a lot easier.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it does make it easier. But
and they come in, they come in different sizes as well?
Yeah, they
come in 11s and 14s.
So yeah, finer fabrics and heavier fabrics.
Right.
So 11s are the finer, 14s the heavier.
And have these got a very, very fine point on them? Because we were talking different sewing machine needles yesterday.
Yeah.
So do these have a finer point to them?
They're not that fine, no. They're just good standard needles.
Because they're good actually, because they'll be going like the proverbial, won't they? So I have to be careful how to choose the phrase there, but they're really going at some rate, aren't they?
They are, because you've got the capacity to do like 1,300 stitches per minute. Okay, so they will go really, really quickly. Now, I probably won't get this straight in.
Are you going to go full speed in a while as well?
I can do.
Oh, yeah, I want to see that.
To be honest, though, I do sometimes sort of say, just take it steady.
Yeah, to
because,
start with.
you know, at the end of the day, they are a domestic machine.
That's true, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And sometimes I hear sort of, you know, and I'm like, oh, and I'm going at it.
Yeah.
You know, and if you've got very thick fabric and things like that, you know, they're only going to cope with so much. They are domestic machines. They're brilliant. However, you know, and I mean, I have had somebody break my needle plate on it, and you've got to be, you know, you just treat them with a little bit of respect.
You know why, Amanda? Too many people watching Coronation Street.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That knicker factory. That's what it is, isn't it? Anyway.
Okay, so I'm going to have a go at, because I generally tend to just thread through. So at the other end, you put the thread through crossways, and then you just line up with the eye of the needle and a little gentle push. Okay, and just pull back. And then you've got a loop of thread that's come through the eye of the needle. Use your tweezers.
That's amazing.
To pull that through. So
we missed the main bit, but it happened.
It did happen.
It did happen.
Okay, can demonstrate again if we need.
No, it's fine. It's just we need cameras both sides and we can't. But
right,
anyway,
so
it works, and that's all we need to know.
People generally sort of say, well, where do all the threads go?
Where do all the threads go?
All right,
Amanda?
so I've lifted up the presser foot, and I'm just going to slide it underneath the presser foot between the upper blade. Okay, so all the threads then just come out towards the left-hand side. Okay.
Yeah, got it.
All right. Now, when you was like talking out and what all the features, it has got a quick release. Okay, just like your normal sewing machine. Okay, so you can press it and it will just click off.
Right. That
feet, because you can buy accessories, different presser feet for different jobs.
Yes.
Okay. And then this will just expose, and it will sort of then show why an overlocker is so great.
Yes.
It has two sets.
Let me just help that shot a second by tipping it that way, just so we can see right into the heart of it.
So it has two sets of feed dogs.
Right.
Okay. The front and the back, whereas the regular sewing machine just has one set of feed dogs. So because it's got the two, that's why it pulls through the fabric really nice and easy. You're just there literally to guide it. We then have, this is your upper blade, okay, and this is the blade that is then going to, it holds no prisoners, okay, and unfortunately for the viewers, you will at some point have a little bit of a mishap and you will probably slice through something, but it's the only way that you learn.
Right.
I don't think I've ever known, I've done it as well, and there was a blood-curdling scream through the house because it was on the last bit, and I got through the bodice of a dress. You know, my husband was
not
like,
for yourself then?
No, yeah, he said, yeah, and I said, to be honest, if it was my finger, it would have been better. I just put together this gorgeous dress, but I did repair it, it was okay. So, as I say, I think all my ladies would say, yeah, I've done it the same, but we've got through it. So
is that why more haste, less speed is probably...
Yes, definitely, just taking it nice and gentle. So this is the upper blade, and this is the one that moves. Okay, and it comes up and down, and it rubs against the lower blade, okay? So I don't know whether Tim can get in. So the upper blade, so you can press that in and out. So that's when it's engaged.
Yes.
You'll hear people, or myself, sort of saying, disengage, and you're just literally twisting it down to remove it. So you can use the machine without the blade as well, if you want to.
Yeah.
Okay, so hence, sort of like round cuffs, if you're hemming, that's when I would recommend. You've then got, it's like a block here, and this is the lower blade. So if I move that in and out, see that block just moving in and out there.
Comes, yeah.
And this alters your stitch width, okay? So again, when it comes, it should just be sitting proud. You've got this little line, this groove here, okay? So it should, the outer edge should just be sitting slightly proud of that edge. Okay.
Can I just, and I know this is brilliant, and we will spend the whole hour, I promise you, spend the whole hour talking this interlocker and getting to know it and getting started. But it's great to hear from you as well. Jennifer, thank you. She says, I've just bought the Overlocker and can't wait to try it out. Fantastic. You've got exactly all of the little tips, all of the things that, you know, Amanda, her ladies, and everybody else has come across so far, so you don't have to, which is brilliant. Just a quick reminder, this is the best value overlocker we have ever seen here at the Sewing Quarter. This is the Elna 664 overlocking sewing machine. It will be with you in plenty of time for Christmas. On behalf of the company, I will promise you that it will be with you in plenty of time for Christmas. We've had it confirmed. We've got the arrangements in place with Elna as well. $249.99, just the price for today as the Festive Sew Special. Of course, that price will change tomorrow. That's the deal on the Festive Sew Special. It's either something so limited that you just have to have it, or the price is so special, but the incentive is there's the special price for that day. Just a quick overview again of all the features of this overlocking machine. And any questions, promise you, listen, I'm not here to get in the way at all. I'm here to find out as much as you want to know about this overlocker as well. But let's just overview the main features of this as well. So it's an instant rolled hemmed device. It's got a self-threading lower looper. Can you just put that into plain English for a second for me, Amanda? Self-threading lower looper. Okay, so the lower looper, okay, it's not going to just like you just look at it and do it yourself. No. Okay, but it's really easy to actually sort of take that through where you can expose the hooks that I've said, and you're just taking it straight through the eye of the needle. So that's the journey that we were just taking there. Right, okay, let's go back to the features if we can again very quickly. It's great to understand these things in words that make sense rather than a little bullet point sometimes, isn't it? Maximum speed, I think we've all got that, 13 RPM. Colour-coded threading routes we've been looking at so far. Cutting blade we've just overviewed. You can take it away, you can unexpose it or expose it if you want to, depending on what you're doing. See, I'm getting to know already. You've got that adjustable foot pressure, more haste, less speed, looks like the rule so far to get started. The snap-on presser foot, we've just seen that, so you can quick release that as well and swap it for others that are available from Elna. Telescopic thread antenna system. So this is your guide, up and down. Yeah, when you're using it, always have it uppermost. Right. Okay, so because obviously you just don't want the threads to get caught up. Yes. If you are transporting it anywhere, always make sure that it's then pushed down and you've got the carrying handle just behind. Right. Okay. Yeah. So because if this breaks, then you're going to be it'll need replacing. Yeah. Okay. Great. Okay. Back to the features then. Let's carry on our journey through those. Electronic foot control we've done. Exclusive Elna accessory box. And they're really helpful accessories as well. We've been using lots and lots of bits from that as well. And a dust cover. And then the stitches on the right-hand side that this can do for you. Now, obviously, we have seen the 664 Pro before. So obviously, between a Pro and a regular 664 model, we know there's a price difference. But in terms of feature difference, what are we missing here that the Pro could do for us? The only difference is that the Pro does the two-thread, the decorative two-thread. Okay, and this one does exactly everything else that the Pro would do. The only other thing that it doesn't come with the waste chip box. That's an accessory optional extra. Okay. Okay. But yeah, apart from that, you're getting everything. Okay. Really, that you really would need. Actually, given the fact that the feature that the Pro has is very much more of a decorative feature. Yeah. Actually, so this can do everything bar 90–95% of what the Pro can do. Yeah. The Pro is just, as the name suggests, it's the upgraded version of that. And the price, let's talk about the price difference. We've had the Pro on, we've had it on as a Black Friday special, and we've had it on air at other times. What's the price difference? At full price, the 664 Pro is £381 and 65 pence. And we have done some, some lower price deals for Black Friday and special deals, but the regular price, 360 something. Do we have it on our website still? Okay, we have it on our website as well. In fact, can we show that on the website? So just so that you know that the 664 Pro is available if you want to do it. So if you are experienced, maybe you have an overlocker already and you want to upgrade to the 664 Pro, you want to investigate the features that it has as opposed to this one, then do that. It is on our website right now. We will have a look at it very, very shortly, but it's there at around about £370, I think it is. It's on our full price right now. So I think you kind of have to balance it out, don't you? It is an investment. You know that you need to be able to you need to get the use out of it. But in terms of how much it expands your skill set as a dressmaker, if at the moment you are simply hand or machine sewing. Yeah, I mean, when I say it's mainly for dressmaking, you can still use it within
sort of your home furnishings. You can still use it within quilting as well. You can still use on bag making, things like that. So just to sort of stop any fraying. So yeah, it's just a wonderful piece of kit. It really is.
Great. Shall we see it in action then? Because we've been half an hour and I'm itching now,
to get going.
Now we know.
Right. So as I say, I've taken it purposely to say this is what you'd get when you come out of the box.
Yes.
Everything will be set at 3, okay, on the factory settings. There is no need for you to twiddle with these at all.
Right.
Okay. Not at this moment when you're first sort of starting.
These
are the
wheels
tension wheels.
Right.
Okay. Leave them on at 3s all the way along. You've got the top. You've got your stitch length. Again, your regular factory setting will be 3. Okay, you can turn that up if you're working with thicker fabrics, okay, just like you would with a regular sewing machine, you would turn the stitch length up. If you're then working with slightly finer, you would then turn it down to a 2, or if you're doing a rolled hem, it's even got R for R, rolled hem.
Right,
okay?
Yeah.
You've then got your differential feed, okay, so this is the one that tends to sort of fox people. Again, 1 is your factory setting, and the differential feed operates the feed dogs, okay?
Okay.
And it just counterbalances sort of stretch and pull. So if I take this through, so we've got it set up on 2 needles, okay, 4 threads, and this is for construction purposes, all right?
Okay.
So it's construction is when you're literally putting 2 pieces of fabric together, all right?
Alrighty.
Okay, so off we go. So you can sort of just hear how smooth and quiet they are.
My word, it is, isn't it?
Okay. So, and it's just trimming as we go. So it's just neatens up that edge. So when you've finished your run, continue what we call chain off. So you should have a good sort of 6-7 inches of chain, okay?
Yeah.
And again, take it to the back and not pull off to the side because you don't want to bend your needles or your stitch finger and your plate, okay?
So you don't need to then secure the ends in any way?
No.
That's finished?
It is finished.
I feel a butt coming on.
It is finished as long as...
Oh, as long as?
As long as, okay, a lot of the times when we are, say, like dressmaking, because that's what I predominantly do, most of your seams are going to go on an intersection. And so it will be crossed over, and so it will be caught up. So therefore, it will be totally fine. If for any particular reason you're going to have an end that's going to be left open, all right, just literally with some of the chain, because I've just cut that off, you can cut it down a little bit, thread it through the eye of like a darning needle, and take it behind, okay, the lower looper, and just then cut that one off. You can put a dab of fray check onto it if you wish to. But as I say, if it's going through an intersection seam, then it's going to get caught up and it's not going to go anywhere.
Okay.
All right.
Fantastic. Just a quick, we're just reversing a little bit here, just to, I think we can go to the website now and see the Elna 664 Pro, just so that you can see it, because I want you to know, here is the 664. Here is the 664 Pro on our website right now. It's actually a little bit more than we thought it was. It's £381.65. So if you want to go for the Pro, it is available. It is there as well.
Sorry, I'm just playing with it.
Yeah, so you do get your waist tray with that and the option of the decorative thread. But you've still got, have you still got the... There's like a list of stitches, is there, on the Pro?
On the Pro, you have sort of like a little display board that you can wheel through.
Okay.
So it's just a reference board.
Do we have one on?
You don't on this one, no.
Okay, right.
No. Okay.
All right, okay. So here's ours today. It's actually a very, very manageable machine as well, isn't it?
Oh, very much so. Yeah, very much so.
So easy to port
portable,
around.
Yeah. Okay. So that's our construction. Okay. So, but when we've constructed, that's why I was playing with it. Okay. So it's not quite caught. So I just need to adjust. Okay. If the camera can pick that up, so you can see the constructing
We are cameraman-less today.
We are.
It's just Amanda and I right now, so we've got the robots on the case.
Okay, so that isn't right.
Right.
On there, so that's why it's lovely. It's definitely live TV. So.
And you know why? Because.
That just needs a little bit of adjustment. It may be that it's not just caught through the tension discs enough, it's just not tight enough on that. And I knew that by sort of like looking at the back, and you can see too much of the blue stitch. Okay,
right.
So it's supposed to look really nice and tidy. Okay, so it's just like your normal regular sewing machine, that you just need to sort of check that the tensions are correct.
Okay.
Okay, so
how do you tackle that now?
I've tightened up because sometimes when you've had the presser foot up, it may not have just gone through. Yeah, it's still a bit loose. So if it is a bit loose, what I've done is just literally turned the tension up to a 4 to see if that will adjust it.
So the tension wheel is the blue wheel above.
Yeah. Okay,
just as the thread comes down.
So yeah, so straight away that started to improve it.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But I can still sort of see that a little bit. Just not quite happy. Yeah. See, it's still just sliding through the tension wheel a little bit too freely.
Okay, and let's show you how Jane has identify this. Is by the pattern of this lower blue thread, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
And also, Amanda, sorry, I beg your pardon. I know I'm going to get that the wrong way around all morning. I'm so sorry. And there you go. So the tension on the blue isn't quite as it should be.
That's it.
Perfect. That's it. Right. So let's compare here one to the other. So I've got not right.
Yeah.
Not tense enough.
Yeah. It's probably still.
So this is the before, and this is the after. The key difference. Oh, I see. Right, where you were saying you were seeing less of the blue, where it's much more prominent on this one, which is the not quite tense enough. And Amanda's still adjusting now.
Yeah, it's just a case. Sometimes it's just a threading issue.
Yeah.
So I've just whipped out the blue thread. Use the threader again.
I'll show you some thread bundles. In fact, we've had a lovely message from. Just a moment. I just need to change windows for a second. From one to the other. Lynn in Greater Manchester. Hello, Lynn. Hubby got the 664 for Christmas. Wow, the best machine and the best teacher. Thank you, love from Lynn. In, excuse me, Blackrod, which is near Bolton in Lancashire. I know Blackrod well.
Yeah.
Well done, you.
Okay.
So nice to watch, isn't it?
See,
that's it.
Just
We got it now.
simply a threading issue. So, as I say, don't think that you've got to keep playing with the tension wheels. If you can see that it's not quite right, even though you sort of think, it's just like when you've done with the sewing machine and you're going, oh no, I've threaded it right.
So let's show you.
Unthread it and rethread it through.
Right, can you see now, again, and again, we want to go to the centre where the overlocking is. So you can see on this one, where it wasn't quite tense enough, the blue thread. Yeah, Amanda's just going to point it out now. So
yeah, you can just see that it's looping a little bit at the back. And it's mainly when you then open it up, you shouldn't be able to see that amount of thread and stitches on there. Okay.
So with this one, if we open this one out
and pull, it's a lot tighter.
Yeah.
Okay.
You really do actually need to tug quite a bit just to see that.
To see those. Okay.
Fabulous.
All right. So.
Any questions, by the way? So I just have to keep reminding, because I know people are joining us all the time and thinking, "Oh, overlocking machine at $249.99. Thank you very much. Lovely. Love the idea of this one. Any questions you've got, you can get a message in through the website over there. I think on the website there's a message bubble, which you can drop a message straight into us, or you can email studio@sewingquarter.com.
Okay, so differential feed. Overlockers are fantastic for jersey. Okay,
Right.
so John
That's
always
like
calls me
t-shirty
t-shirt
fabric,
materials.
yeah.
Yeah, John always calls me the Jersey Queen because I work loads and loads with the jersey.
Yeah.
So because obviously it's got a natural stretch with it,
Mm-hmm.
okay, and it can be if we're sort of putting a skirt together, anything that you're working with a bias is going to have stretch,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where you need to counterbalance it with the differential feed.
Mm-hmm.
So if I put this through just with everything still on one, okay. So the feed dogs are working together. They're pulling the fabric through nice and even. And when we place it down, you've got a waffle.
Oh, you
on
have.
that,
Like
okay?
a wavy top.
Yeah, okay. So what we want is it nice and flat. Whether you're working with jersey or whether you're working with a linen or a cotton, as I say, if you're going through a bias, it's going to stretch, okay? So by working with your differential feed, if we turn that up, say to a 1.5.
We're coming. Which one did you just do it again
This middle
for us?
one.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so
great.
I've gone from a 1 through to a 1.5. Okay. What's going to happen is the front feed dog is now going to work faster than the back feed dog. And so it's going to
okay.
pull it through nice and even and hopefully
keep the tension on the fabric.
and keep that tension working.
Oh. Do you know what's just occurred to me? Because I was thinking, as a beginner, if I started feeding fabric through, what happens if my overlocking drifts from the edge? But I see now cutter is cutting away
Right, yeah.
an excess.
So
Do you have to take that into account in your measurements as well?
Okay,
What you might lose.
when you're actually, if you're lining it up just literally on this straight edge, okay, you won't lose any. You're literally talking odd sort of scraps.
Millimetres,
Yeah,
yeah.
millimetres, not even worth playing about with.
Okay, right.
Okay? However, you've then got on the top, you've got this little dotted blue line and a solid blue line, okay? And it's then indicating 5/8 left and right.
Let me lift that up for you so you
Okay.
can see. There you go.
So again, if I use my, so you've got the dots, okay? So if you, and then your blue, so it's indicating that's your left line and that's your right needle, okay? And if you place the fabric to the edge there, that's going to give you your 5/8 seam allowance, which is the general seam allowance when you are dressmaking.
Great.
Okay?
So we're back on this one.
So the differential feed, so can you see the difference from
Yes.
waffle to it's contracted
To what you expect
Yeah.
in the edging or the seam of a jersey
Yeah,
material
that it's going to
garment.
keep it nice and flat.
Lovely.
Now, if we turn the differential feed wheel to the other way, to a 0.5, what's going to happen is the front feed dog now is going to work a lot slower than the back, okay? So this would be good if we were working with very fine fabrics, sort of like a georgette or silk, anything like that, that has a tendency to pucker a little bit, okay? And that way, it will actually keep it nice and smooth. And because I've put this on the jersey, what it's going to do, it's going to have pulled it even further. As I say, it stretches it out and gives us an even greater waffle. And this is known as a lettuce leaf, okay? Which can be really decorative and nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's great if you're doing it around a cuff. So
Yes.
you could leave that hemmed just like it is, okay?
Amanda, sorry, I hate interrupting because I know how irritating it can be, but I've just heard. Just explain that to me again in plain English.
Okay.
Right, we've just got a thing on our right. The 664 Pro, the price that we showed you on the website. Oh, right, was an offer price that we offered on Black Friday weekend. So is that still valid though? No. Right, okay, right. I get now. Sorry, apologies. Right, so when I showed you the website before with the price of the Elna 664 Pro, what had happened is a glitch on the website meant that the last time we offered it as a Cyber Monday deal at that special price of £381.65, that was the Black Friday or some Cyber Monday price, and it hadn't been reset. It has been reset, but it didn't display right on the website. So it is now back at just over £400, I think it is. So just to let you know. But today is the So Special. So, I mean, this is all about getting your... And I have to say, the performance that I've seen so far tells me that if I've never had an overlocker before, this is going to see me a long journey ahead of me before I think about, you know, upgrading,
you won't
changing.
need another one. You won't need another one.
This is the go-to, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. Okay, so what I've just done is I've just taken the left-hand needle out. Okay, so it comes in the pack a nice little fine screwdriver.
Yeah,
and just literally just open up the screw, just a couple of turns. My hand's in the way.
It.
Yeah,
Brilliant.
just a couple of turns.
There it is.
You can use your needle if you want to hook that underneath.
Yes.
Okay, and then let it drop out. I just, because I'm used to them, I just literally pulled it through. And then tighten that screw back up, because what's happening is the two needles sit in one hole.
Right.
Okay, so if that isn't tightened back up, the right-hand needle that's been left in, that can actually move about, okay, which could damage the machine. So always just tighten that back through.
When you finished your work, again, forgive me, this is just as it occurs to me, but so you finished your work, you've chained on, you've snipped it off. Do your needles always go back to a resting position, or do you have to adjust them and lift them up and down as you do with a traditional sewing machine? Okay,
yeah, you can do. If you're just sort of like carrying on and overlocking, you don't even need to pull up your presser foot, okay? It's just literally lift up the front toe and just place that underneath. The feed dogs will take it. If I tend to do a lot of unchaining and I sort of declutch it, so just literally so I could get the needle out, lifted the presser foot, turned the wheel backwards to dechain it, just pulled it through a little bit, just so I've got my 4 separate strands rather than my chain. And that way it's just a lot easier then to actually sort of get the needle out. Okay. So I've now got it on 3 threads, okay, with the right-hand needle in. This will give me the standard narrow finish. Okay. This will not construct, it will not hold 2 pieces of fabric together strong enough. Okay. It will literally finish the inside of your seams. Okay.
I'm sorry to rush, because, you know, it always happens. We've had a whole hour that has just disappeared like that. We now have 2 minutes. Okay, so just to show you that you can go round squares without actually having to break off. We'll go all the way around and our inside corner. Let's do it. So let me place it Seeing is believing.
So what we do is when we come to the end, we just hand crank it once, needle in the up position, whereas we would normally pivot with our machine, we've got the needle in the up, we slide back off what we call the stitch finger, okay, bring it back round, just release some of my threads, place it back down, just tighten, pull the threads back up, oops, foot plates going everywhere, and off we go again. Same thing to the end, just walk it through, pull back, turn round. So this is a great way of sort of like if you're hemming your Christmas napkins and
lovely colours as well, isn't it?
Okay, so when we come into the actual corner here, because the upper blade is at the foremost, it will cut the fabric. If we create a little dart and keep that line nice and straight, go straight over the top.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
Oh, right, listen, I've got to give you the details. And then we will see this. So, IBJE19, the best value overlocking machine we have ever seen here at the Sewing Quarter. It is the Elna 664 at £249.99. It will revert in price after today to a higher price tag as well. The Pro is available on the website as well. The threads, if you have a look on the website, these thread bundles, so the white, the grey, the black and the blue, Hayley's going to run them through the system during the break. Hannah is going to run them through the system through the break. Yeah, I know, it's written everywhere. It's on sticky notes everywhere. Hannah, and I still can't get it right. We even went on a holiday together in the last 24 hours, and I still can't get it right. Anyway, so Hannah's going to run it through the computers, through the break, so you can have them on products in the show. It will appear there on the website down there somewhere. Or, of course, you can call the team as well, and they will be live to buy online as well, on the telephone lines. 0800 112 4433. Thank you, Amanda. See you in an hour. See you in 3 minutes' time. What a whirlwind today is.
Join us on Facebook. Simply search for The Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more.
Tune in at 9 AM on Wednesday the 13th of December to see Victoria Peat recreate this gorgeous rainbow hexes cushion by Joe Westfoot. Featured in the brand new edition of Love Patchwork and Quilting, this machine applique cushion is a great way to experiment with colour. Victoria will also be enlarging the design into a coordinating quilt, and she'll be sharing her expert advice to help you along the way. It's the perfect project to work on during your post-Christmas downtime and a great way to add a splash of colour into your home. So join Victoria on Wednesday the 13th of December for this fun project, only on Sewing Quarter Freeview Channel 78.
Simply Sewing is a magazine for dressmakers and home sewists who are passionate about fabrics and love to sew with stylish patterns. Each issue is packed with technical know-how, templates and easy to follow instructions to sew yourself quick wardrobe updates, accessories, plushy toys, gifts, bags and more. Plus, each issue comes with a free dress pattern from our expanding trend-led collection. We're proudly flying the flag for contemporary sewing with stylish patterns and beautiful photography to inspire sewists across the globe at every level.
There are many different ways you can buy from us here at the Sewing Quarter. You can order from us by calling our free phone number at 0800 112 4433 and talk to the team at our UK-based call centre. Alternatively, there are other ways you can buy from us. You can go online and shop through our website at www.sewingquarter.com. You can even watch the show there and shop as you go. You can check out as many times as you like throughout the day and only pay a small fee of £2.95 postage and packaging for the whole day. We also offer a 30-day money-back guarantee on all products excluding custom cut fabric. Our friendly UK-based team will help guide you through every step.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Taylor and I'd like to share with you 3 of my top tips. So my top tip number 1 would be your embroidery scissors. I like to keep mine on a length of thread and make a necklace out of them so you don't lose them in your sewing room. For my second top tip, I would suggest with your wound bobbins, popping them into a toe separator to stop them from unravelling in your sewing kit. For my third top tip, I would suggest using some really cheap, ineffective thread for your tacking. And the reason being is that it will be easier to snap and you also get to save your more expensive posh threads.
Did you know there are multiple ways you can contact us, even if it's just to ask a question? Our friendly team are always on standby. You can call our customer service team at 0800 112 4433, email us at help@sewingquarter.com, visit our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter @sewingquarter, and even message us through our website, and our presenters will answer your questions live on air.
I'm Anna Maria Horner. Merry Christmas from the Sewing Quarter.
As soon as you place an order with us, we get to work on making your shopping experience that extra bit special. Our warehouse team pick your items and cut your fabric with the greatest care and precision. Cut fabric is neatly folded and packed in a tissue paper-lined presentation box. And when we're satisfied that it's just perfect, it gets the Sewing Quarter seal of approval. So whether you're giving a gift or treating yourself, you can shop with confidence, knowing your Sewing Quarter purchases will arrive in style.
Hi, I'm Lucy Brennan and these are my 3 top tips. My first top tip is to experiment. It's really about playing and using all the different features of your sewing machine. So for example, when I was quilting this quilt, I used a wavy quilting stitch, which gives a really lovely texture to the quilt. So it's worth having a play about and using scraps or little quilt sandwiches to try different things. My second top tip is about combining fabric. A lot of people like getting the pre-cuts, which are fantastic. That gives you a whole range of a collection, but it doesn't mean that you just have to use those together. It can be nice to mix them in with other fabrics that you've got in your stash, or mix them in with solids and create something really unique. My third top tip is sometimes you just need to go for it. You can't always plan everything out. So you might combine fabrics, be making a block, and it not look exactly how you wanted it to. But until you sew it together, you don't always know how it looks, and there's always a way of combining things and making it look right in the end.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Sewing Quarter. We have returned to an oasis of calm, which is great. Still, you know, it's still 5 inches of snow outside. It's all fine. By the way, John will be back on later this week, sometime. I think he's currently holed up with his little noddy car, which can't get through the snow, unfortunately. So apologies that he's not here, but he will be here later in the week. And I think Tash will be here, fingers crossed, all going well, depending on snowfall dependent. Should be here tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, all going well. Now, Jane, you are back with me. In the first hour, we were talking about the big bundle to make this glorious 80-inch square quilt. Yeah. And we made the medallion centre, didn't we?
We did.
Which was just fantastic. And we offered one big bundle. Now, all of this fabric is heritage inspired from the Quilters Guild. And we're now going to, very, very excitingly, we are now going to go through all of the fabrics individually, one by one, that you can actually buy by the half metre. So if, like me, and Jane this morning, we were looking through some of the fabrics and thinking, oh, actually, I would love this for, you know, insert project name here, then you will be able to do that. Now, if you want more than 1.5 metres, just a watchword, if you're buying via our website over there in Add to Basket, you can only add a maximum of 3 units of something into your basket, which in half metres of fabric means 1.5 metres. So if you want more than 1.5 metres in one long length, cut from the bolt, then you'll need to speak to our team on that telephone number down there, 0800 112 4433, and they will obviously up the units depending on how much meterage you would like. Clear as a bell, I think. So let's start through our fabrics, because we've got a lot to go through to. We've got something like 24 to whiz through. So let's have a look at them. Let's start with Catherine. And of course, these are the Quilters Guild fabrics as well. So inspired by designs of yesteryear. And we're talking, you know, the 1800s here, aren't we? Which is rather lovely. So we're looking at Catherine first, which is beautiful. Lovely, lovely tonal mix of colours. As well, Jane, isn't it, in this one? Yes, lovely creams and reds. Quite a classic print, that one. It's gorgeous, isn't it? It's almost like clubs in playing cards a little bit, isn't it? Yes. Sort of a triangle of clubs sort of brought together into a square there. Yeah. And quite linear as well. Really, really nice sort of fabric. I'd love wallpaper like that as well, wouldn't you? It's rather nice. Yes, it's a lovely print. Very nice classic. One. Yeah, classic red and cream. Yep, and available by the half metre for you to buy. We're going to whiz through these at relative speed because we have quite a few to go through. So next up, we are going to take, which one's this one? This is Donald, Where's Your Trousers? This is Donald. This is beautiful. This is a lovely sort of almost mustardy yellow, would you say, Jane?
Yes. It's a classic yellow from the period, this yellow, with the green and the red. I looked at this and I thought it looks a little bit like Chinese lanterns when you took, because it's got like a little hook on it. And I thought, well, that's like Chinese lanterns.
Yes, it's beautiful actually. Yes, almost as well. If you have them, let me just whiz that upside down for you for a second. Almost like some sort of, some vintage lighting, isn't it? Very, very nice indeed. Love it. Very, very nice. Again, available by the half metre as well. But remember, if you do want more than 1.5 metres, that's more than 3 units, then make sure you speak to the call centre on that one, 0800 112 4433, all 100% cotton, of course, these lovely Quilters Guild. This is Margaret. Oh, now this is in the first block that we made. So the block that we made for the medallion centre of the quilt, Margaret is featured there. And this really is, we talked about this being a little sort of Aztec in style and actually quite contemporary looking.
Yes, and you know, at the moment, Aztec prints and things are quite in fashion. So, as we were saying earlier, you know, these prints, they come around again. So although that's inspired by an 1800 fabric, it wouldn't be out of place in a modern quilt today. Beautiful, isn't it?
It's an amazing, amazing look, isn't it? Very, very nice, very vibrant as well. It's a lovely sort of cream and black popping against that lovely deep red. Now, this is the one, this is Mark, isn't it? We like Mark. We all like Mark very, very much indeed. Mark is a lovely blue check. So you've got a, it's actually quite dazzling to the eyes a little bit, isn't it?
Yes, it does play around.
Yeah, it's wonderful. Really, really nice colour tone to it as well, as you can see. Again, quite linear, as we saw in, which was the earlier fabric we saw that was a little bit linear. It's
the very first
one, wasn't it? Down here, Catherine, because it has that slightly linear nature to it. You see, actually, the linears cross over quite nicely, don't they? Beautiful. We love that. I would love a shirt in that. I really would.
I was going to say, this is more like shirting fabric. And we have to remember that these designs have been taken from the original fabrics. So they probably were shirting fabric, leftover bits of dressmaking, things like that. So not necessarily the small ditzy prints that we sometimes think of as being vintage quilts fabric.
Like the sort of Liberty Flowers kind of very, very small motifs. Next one we have, again, this is beautiful, very, very organic. This is beautiful. This is Red Robin. Beautiful. You can see the shape of the, it's almost like leaf shapes in some way, but you can pick out, you know, that very, very distinctive sort of robin look. And again, it has a lovely, almost like a leaf in the centre, Jane,
yeah,
would you say?
I would say it was a leaf pattern. I would think, although we use in the modern patterns, we use that shape as a bird shape.
Yes.
I think it's meant to be a leaf shape from the original design.
Yeah. And actually, these very, very sort of thin lines in between are giving you that real depth and texture.
Yes. And again, it's got like a stripe running through it. If you look at it from a distance, you can make out that stripy sort of effect.
Yeah. Delicious, isn't it?
It's lovely.
Didn't they have, and we've got the same design. So that was the red robin. This one is the blue robin. And this is lovely. And actually, I'm just going to half and half that, actually, so you see both together. So obviously the feature one right now is the blue robin, having just had the red. So you can see, actually, the combination of those two would be beautiful. And remember, actually, even if you are quilt making, really, and a lot of these fabrics, you only need the equivalent of a fat quarter's worth.
Yeah,
and
that's
actually
true.
here, you're buying by the half metre for the full length of the full width of the fabric, which is brilliant, which is 2 fat quarters in essence, isn't it? Which is actually pretty good for the price tag, actually, given the prestige of this fabric as well.
Yes. And it's a lovely quality quilting fabric. It's a beautiful cotton.
It is. It's very, very rich. And it's very, very stable as well. Okay, now we're moving to a completely different look. Now this really does take you back, doesn't it? It really does take you back. It's extremely vintage. In fact, it looks like almost your ability to buy vintage fabric. You know, here is fabric from, you know, a genuine haberdasher of the 1800s. It's delicious, isn't it?
Yeah, I think this would make nice kitchen accessories. I think this is a lovely fabric that would you know, like tablecloths and oven gloves. It's got that sort of kitcheny feel to it, to my mind. I mean, we're all different, aren't we, how we see fabric.
And in terms of availability, getting hold of vintage ranges like this doesn't happen too often, does it, the heritage ranges?
Not so much, no. Some of the bigger fabric companies, like we all know about Moda, they quite often bring out what they call their mill book ranges, and they've got these books from the original mills, and they'll reproduce these patterns. So you quite often, it tends to be, people tend to think of the vintage quilts as being sort of like Moda and that sort of range of fabrics. So it's nice to have a different one. Different patterns, they're bigger, these patterns. They tend to be bigger patterns, whereas the Moda ones tend to be ditzy.
So this is William. Very grand, isn't it? Very opulent, actually.
Yes.
Very nice indeed. Lovely shapes as well, very unusual shapes. Actually, that's almost a modern day twist on the question mark, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which has been sort of worked into the, it's almost, I guess, like an oak leaf design as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
very,
it's a lovely,
nice.
Vibrant green, that is. It's a really nice green.
It's a gorgeous green, actually. It's a very, very, it's difficult to describe that shade of green, actually, isn't it? It's like a very, very sort of deep lime. You know, when a lime has been sitting that little bit too long, it goes a little bit deeper, doesn't it? It's kind of that. Now this is James. And I can see James running around in the 1800s with a pair of pyjamas like this, can't you?
Yes. Yeah. It's like again, it's like a leaf pattern, but it's got this dot in it, this red dot, which sort of really sort of dances around on the fabric. It's quite a nice.
Yes, it could almost be a little Christmas-esque as well, couldn't it?
Yes.
It could be seen as seasonal. You could mix it up with, I'm just thinking about mixing it with the greens from before, actually. The reds and the greens and the blues work really quite nicely together. You'll have lots and lots of different ideas occur to you as you see the fabric. So that is James, available again by the ½ metre. Again, just a quick reminder, if you're buying on the web and you want more than 1.5 metres on one length from the bolt, then make sure you speak to our team on the call centre, 0800 112 4433. It's just the website doesn't yet have the capability to do that because of the limit to 3 units. This is gorgeous, and this does have a very, very tight sort of image to it, doesn't it? We've seen this.
This is one we used in the middle. This is it Margaret, this one?
This is Dorothy.
Dorothy, sorry.
Brown Dorothy, this is.
It's got it's a lovely ditzy print. It's a nice one, but it gives an overall colour of brown. It's lovely with the creams, and then it's got this little spot of the mustard yellow and the pink in it. So again, you know, if you mixed it in with the other colours, it brings out the colours of the other fabrics. When you put that yellow against it, the yellow yellow spots will.
Let me just bring that down so you can see the combo of the two there.
The little yellow spots will jump out of it.
Yeah, one will pick out the best of another as well. Yeah. And it's fascinating to think that, you know, young ladies in the 1800s who were, you know, learning the skill of sewing and, you know, needlework and whatever, were actually collecting sort of scraps of fabric from clothing or whatever it may be, and sort of doing what we would describe these days as sort of the make, do and mend, and creating these beautiful quilts. For their bottom drawer. This, again, because the images are quite petite in this one, it gives such a lovely line to it. Actually, this would be great for clothing as well, because it really does cut a nice dash, doesn't it?
Yes.
It's got a very, very nice sort of linear form to it.
You can see this being ladies' clothes, I think, ladies' shirts from the 1800s. That nice, crisp, but obviously not white because they didn't wash their clothing as much, but beautiful cream tones to that, and it goes as it, you know, it's the same pattern, but it sort of complements. It's like the reverse, if you like, of the brown. Yeah. So where the cream is, you've got the brown, and where the brown is, you've got the cream.
Gorgeous, isn't it? All of these are beautiful. So that is Dorothy in fawn, and of course you've got Dorothy Brown, which we've put the details at the bottom of the screen there for you as well. So both of those available by the ½ metre as well. This is the first time you're seeing these as well, just as a quick reminder. So quite often people want to secure those purchases the first time around. So there will be, I guess, a fair amount of competition in terms of, you know, getting these first time around. Next one, we have loved this one. Again, just images coming from, you know, from Dorothy, echoed, slightly larger and slightly different, but still picking up the colours, whether you're going for the brown or the fawn Dorothy, again then picking up in the cream with this lovely purple, which is not, it's not a very, very deep purple actually, it's quite a, almost like a faded appearance to it, Jane.
Yeah, it's got like a linen-y effect in the background, and then this lovely like little leaf, again leaf, there's a lot of leaf theme going through the collection, this lovely leaf print on it. I have to say, I think this is my favourite one of the whole collection.
It's lovely actually, isn't it?
Every time I've been using it, I keep picking up one and going, oh, then I'm like, oh no, I like this one, and then I'm like, oh, no, I like this one better.
And I guess the printing technology for fabrics back in the day as well, they would have been limited to a certain extent in the number of colours they could actually print.
Yeah, they
into
didn't
one
have
fabric.
the technology or the dye techniques that we have now, so their palette was a lot more limited.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of the patterns were woven in as well, rather than printed on.
Yes. So, more Audrey, but this time in a different colour. It's really, really lovely. This is yellow Audrey, or Audrey yellow.
I think this yellow and this lilac colour together are just
Yeah.
sumptuous and,
Yeah,
and
they
very
are
modern,
gorgeous.
really, in the colourway.
Yes. Be great for clothing today, actually, wouldn't it? For
It looks quite bright on the camera.
spring season.
But it's actually not that bright, is
Yeah,
it? It's got more of a...
It's a little bit more muted than it appears
more of a
on
creamy
camera. Yeah.
colour.
Because again, that has that lovely sort of linen texture. It's slightly a faded texture. We would, if we equated it to a denim texture or denim colours now, that would be slightly a sort of faded background look.
On the camera, the leaf in the middle looks like it's blue, but actually it isn't. It's
a brown,
It's
isn't
browny
it?
colour,
Yeah.
exactly the same as the one in the purple.
Yes.
It's funny, isn't it, how the colours play?
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll see that in a little bit more detail a little later because we have 22, I think, to get through. So, and we're just about halfway through, I think. This is lovely.
This is my favourite, of course, because you know what the name of this is, don't you?
This must be the Jane then, Jane?
Yes, it's the Jane. It's got a Y in it, but we'll forgive it.
Okay, that's all right. That's allowed. It was 1800 and something. It's fine. It was all different back then. The language would have been very different back then as well, wouldn't it?
It's feathers, I think. Or it may be leaves, I don't know.
I think it's feathers.
I think it's meant to be feathers.
I think the colours of them lend them to be feathers a little bit more. But I love this sort of dotted, almost like a dotted stitched pattern, almost like that's being quilted in some kind of way.
Yes, that would be a quilt pattern. You could use that pattern in your quilting.
Yeah.
It is quite a well-known sort of pattern for quilting.
Yeah, beautiful, isn't it?
When I first looked at it, it reminded me a little bit, you know, the 1950s of the Christmas tree lights, that sort of print.
Yes.
It gives you that
impression.
impression, although it's feathers, it's
the little
not.
bulbs that you used to have on the trees. Yes, you're right. Absolutely. Love it. Actually, this next one puts me very much in mind. I think this has probably come back more recently, this kind of styling. I'm thinking this is very sort of 50s, 60s, 70s, you know, this kind of colour palette definitely working together. Again, very linear as well. I love this. It's almost like a chain link, isn't it? That's going through. So it's almost a jewellery look in some kind of way, isn't it, this one?
Yeah, again, I think it was probably shirting fabric in its original life form.
Yes.
You can see again ladies' shirts probably with that one. It is very
beautiful. It's a beautiful
geometric
feeling fabric as well. This is another one. If you ever have start up like a boutique hotel, I think you just have to. You know how you have the lovely sort of fabric headboards sometimes, beautifully decorated. I think you've just got to have a little taste of this, haven't you? This is Annie. This is Annie, and again. It's wonderful, isn't it? And you can just almost feel the journey of the creation of this fabric as well.
Yeah, beautiful little flowers. Very, very nice flowers on there. Nice colours. It's lovely, and actually, there's a mix of tones in the background as well. There's some almost sort of hazy tones in the background, which I quite like. It gives you that vintage feel of the like a linen-y effect. Very, very nice. Tablecloth material as well, I think. Although it might be a bit too grand for that, actually. I'm thinking now, maybe. Wow, this one's quite striking. Very, very simple in its appearance. Just a simple two colours, really. But it is actually very, very striking, the image. I don't know, it's a little mountainous, maybe. Yeah, it's quite Art Deco, isn't it? Yeah. In its style. Simple symmetry. Just simple two colours. Complete sort of monochrome, if you like. The cream and the black there. Again, will be great for adding depth and definition to quilts as well. Very nice.
as will the next one, because the next one really keys in quite nicely with that one too, I think. And again, remember we had those deep sort of lime greens. Where did we pick up deep lime greens before?
That
yeah, it was
lovely
down
one
here,
there.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
So if you think about the deep lime greens that we picked up before, then this, again, yeah, you can sort of see that. It's almost a little cartoony in its appearance, actually, this one, isn't it? I'm trying to work out actually what the imagery is on this one. I guess it depends on...
a sort of feather in a palm branch, maybe, flipped over, maybe.
Yes, yes.
Again, it's sort of
I think
leafy.
You can interpret this in a few different ways, actually, and maybe that's your angle of view as well, because I can see a mountainous landscape. If I just turn it around this way and show you, I can see, you know, almost a mountain and some foliage in the foreground. So you can interpret that quite a few different ways. Love it. Very, very good. Right, next one. Next one. This is lovely because we've got two versions of this, actually. So this is Kimberly, but Kimberly in yellow. And this is lovely, actually. And this is, again, floral. It's a very, very delicate floral, isn't it, this one?
Yeah. It's like a little daisy flower, I think, like a little oxeye daisy.
Yes.
Stylised with the yellow middle bit. And
It's
then you've
lovely.
got it in the other colourway.
We have, yeah. So we've got the yellow Kimberly, and we also have, look, just perfect to go with that. We've got the pink Kimberly as well. So there's the yellow that we've just been seeing. And now moving on to, let me just waft that out for you. There you go. There's the pink. And it's a very, very sort of mid-pink, actually, isn't it? It's like a lovely sort of raspberry mousse kind of pink, isn't it?
Yes, lovely. Not too sickly. It's a soft pink. And and again, it's sort of mixed in the same colourways. I don't know if we can see that.
Let me bring that one.
Those pinks are the similar shading. So there's obviously been, you know, consideration taken into how the fabrics work well together. Because of course, when the quilt was made originally, it was what there was. There was no sort of like design consideration to an extent. They would have just been using what was available.
Yes.
So it would just go if it did. It was a happy accident. Whereas I think with these, the colours and everything have been taken into account and worked well together.
Completely. Right. Susan now, which is lovely, because this one is almost like a lovely sort of piercing blue eye in the sort of marquise or the ellipse at the top, and then it's sort of feathered. It comes out as a feather, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Almost like a peacock feather.
Or as my husband, when he looked at it, said it looked like a fish skeleton.
Oh, yes. There are lots of different interpretations to these shapes as well, and we'll all have different feelings about that. But actually, they're very, very soft, muted colour tones again, almost like a sort of a creamy kind of background, isn't it? It's not a true white, is it?
It's not white. It's like an ivory, probably.
Yes, it is, with a lovely sort of soft blue, lovely sea blue, beautiful. And one more to show you, which is this one here. And then we'll see all of them. We'll go back through all of these again later, so don't worry. If you missed any, or you can see on the web, sewingquarter.com, you can see all of the fabrics one by one. This is Mary Mary, quite contrary. Again, lovely, lovely different colours again. I mean, actually the blue's keying rather nicely with the one that we just saw. And there's some more of those deep blues in some of the other fabrics as well. In fact, some of the slightly more dramatic fabrics that we saw earlier. So actually, maybe this one and they go really, really nicely together.
It's, again, under the studio lights, it looks quite turquoisey.
Yes.
And it isn't. It's more of a
deep and a light blue together, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit Air Force blue, but a bit more vibrant. And then this lovely shades of beige and taupe, and then the little dotty again on a sort of creamy ivory background.
It's like a dotty balloon, actually. It's quite clever. Let's have a look at the entire collection then, shall we? Remember, they are all underneath us if you're watching on the website right now. And they're all available by the half metre, should I say. But remember, if you want more than 1.5 metres of any of them, speak to the call centre, 0800 112 4433. Fantastic. Now, Jane, I will be back in just a second because I know we're going to work on a little bit more of the quilt, aren't we? But I'm just going to give you a quick reminder. If you want to make the entire 80-inch square quilt that we are displaying behind us today, then absolutely you can. It's the bundle of 26 fabrics in all. 22 of them are the Devon County fabrics. Plus, we have the 4 Macawa solids as well, which are in a purple, in a red, in a cream, and another one, a green as well. Lovely, deep, rich green, which keys in really nicely with those lovely, deeper, darker lime greens that we saw in the quilt. Now, the quilt itself is extraordinary, with that medallion centre that we made in the 8 o'clock hour this morning. Then it goes out and radiates into this big sort of 80-inch square. In fact, the image of that will be, in fact, actually, I'll show you the whole thing. There it is. That's what it looks like in its entirety, in its 80-inch square. It really is fantastic. I have to say, it's a lovely, lovely quilt. Again, that whole nod to yesteryear. And this little magazine actually will come with an edition of Today's Quilter. And this supplement contains not only the images of the completed quilt, and of course you can use these fabrics in any way, in any combination. Actually, Jane did a completely different combination, which we'll see again, of the medallion in the centre. But in the back of this little supplement as well, towards the back of this, you will actually get the complete instructions, if I whiz you all the way to the back, the complete step-by-step instructions on how to construct this quilt as well. And the step-by-step instructions are really, really comprehensive as well. They go from A to Z, let me tell you. This little publication here, which comes with your edition of Today's Quilter, it's brilliant, issue number 29, comes with this and talks to you about the history of the collection and how Today's Quilter has collaborated with the Quilters Guild as well to create this big project. So, which we're going to carry on and continue with, shall we? Let's show you the entire bundle. There it is, CGGC 33 is your item number there. Remember, that is 13.5 metres all told, 26 fabrics, 22 of the Devon County and 4 Macawa solids, plus the Today's Quilter edition, plus the supplement which shows you not only how to make this quilt, but talks about the history of the Devon Country Collection, the Quilters Guild, and everything else as well, which is wonderful. So all the fabrics that are available are out there in front of us right now. We are now working towards, I think where you can see, I think we are going to this block here, aren't we, actually? I think we can just see it on the camera there. Yeah. That's the block. Actually, Jane's got it here on the overhead as well. So this is the one that we're heading to, which is lovely. And we're going to use some of those sort of slightly, the fabrics that had quite a linen texture to them as well, Jane. Yeah.
There's a lovely, in the collection, there's about 9 or 10 that are creamy fabrics, which are obviously like the background, if you like, of the fabric. So they've been used quite a lot to be the contrast to the colour. Now this block is like a churn dash block. It's not quite churn dash, but it's similar to churn dash, and it makes up the majority of the larger border on the quilt. Okay. Around the outside, this outside border here. Yeah. So I thought,
and the purple on this is the Audrey fabric, isn't it? The purple Audrey. So all of the fabrics that are in the quilt are all available via the by the half metre. We put the details of Audrey there at the bottom.
Now, as I said before, in the pattern that's within the supplement, all the measurements are given, and then they tell you to cut them out into the pieces. Half square triangles in the corners here, so I'm going to show you how to make the half square triangle but with the 2 squares rather than cutting out triangles and sewing the triangles back together. Okay. The measurements are the same. You don't have to change the measurements at all. It's a 5, I think it's a 5 7/8 inch square to start with, yeah. Okay. 2 in the light colour and then 2 in the deeper colour. Now, again, all the blocks are listed in the supplement in the pattern, so it tells you exactly which fabrics to use with what. If you want to make it exactly the same as that, you've got enough fabric here to play and change them around should you wish to. So the 2 squares, so you're going to need 2 of the dark and 2 of the light. Now in the pattern it tells you to now cut those in half diagonally, but we can do it without cutting them. So we're going to place the squares right sides together, and we're just going to draw the diagonal through. Again, when I draw a diagonal on my square, I always start in the middle and go out, just so you know you're on the bias, you're not going to drag the fabric too much. Just making sure they're right sides together.
And we've got the lighter fabric details at the bottom of the screen.
And then I'm going to sew 1/4 inch either side of the drawn line. You could do all of your squares all at once for all of your blocks if you wanted to, or you could do it each block at a time. You can chain piece this method, it's quite straightforward.
Oh.
What are we? No, it's okay. So you don't need to cut your thread, you just take it out of the machine and pull it a little bit and then just turn it around.
If there are any of the fabrics that you see on the main quilt as well, by the way, that you want to have another closer look at, just give us a shout via the website or a text message. We're happy to do that. And any questions for Jane, because Jane's been working on the blocks of this quilt. So anything you want to ask her along the way, then please do.
So we're going to cut now on that drawn diagonal line.
Using the 24-inch quilting ruler, of course. We know where to get that.
And then we'll press those open.
Ah, iron. My job. Not plugged in. 1 second.
Oh dear, it's fine, don't worry. While those are being pressed, you've then got all 4 of the half square triangles that you need for your corners of your unit.
Okay.
So once that's warmed up, we can press those. Now, it tells you in the pattern to cut the squares. They're 2.5-inch squares. Cut them all. You need 5 of the dark colour and 4 of the light for your pattern. But what I've done is I've cut 2 strips from the width of the fabric and joined the light and the dark together in one long strip, and then I cut that up into 2.5-inch units. Lining up my line on my ruler with the seam line rather than the edge of the fabric, because that's your true straight in theory. And for each block you need 4 of these 2.5-inch units.
You don't mind if I press, Jane, do you?
No,
I've
you're
had
fine.
a little bit of tuition over the weekend, so I should be passable.
That's okay. So for each block you need 4 of these units with the 2 sewn together, and then you'll need 1 of the squares individually. So what you're now going to do, you've got your blocks, and on this block the dark is facing outwards. On some of the blocks the dark faces inwards, so it gives you a different,
so a contrast,
same block, but it gives you a different effect. And you're going to place 1 of these units with the darker square at the top, in between, and then at the bottom row you're going to have it facing downwards. These ones go in the middle at the side, and this is where this spare square comes in, and you're going to sew that to the middle. So you'll sew it to one side and then to the other, so I'll quickly do that.
Okay. I might just shift that quilting ruler just because it's giving us a little bit of a funny reflection, that's all. Sorry, Hannah. Oh, someone's asked to see Margaret. It's fine. I'll do a happy dance. It's fine. It's only here. I got Margaret. Here she is. I'll bring her over here, Tim.
Yeah, I'll move that
I'll
way.
pop
and
that
then
down there if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Margaret was the kind of Aztec style, wasn't it? It went into the centre medallion, didn't it?
Yes.
Into that design to create the points there in the centre medallion. It's beautiful fabric, actually. So I will absolutely no problem. Here she is. VUQX12, £8.50 for a half metre. Oh, and actually, Hannah's just looked at the people who have checked out on the Margaret fabric, and some people are taking their namesake. So we have at least 2 Margarets in the list of buyers of the Margaret fabric. Fabulous, why not? Why shouldn't you have your own fabric? So actually, we are looking for customers called Annie, Mary, Susan, Jane, Kimberly, Lois, Christine, Heather, Catherine, Mark and Matthew. We're not leaving out the boys either. Robin, James, Audrey, William, Margaret, of course, Donald, Robin, Dorothy. Yes, I don't think we have anybody called Artichoke, but that's a solid, so we don't need to worry about that. That's fine.
Well, you never know, do you? I mean, we've got an apple, haven't we?
That's very true, actually, because that's something which would have amazingly changed at the 1800s when people were making these quilts originally. Is everyone would have been called Anne, Mary, Julie, you know, maybe not even Julie. They would have been very traditional names. Oh, I need to find Jane. Oh, feathers. Feathers, feathers, feathers. That's the one. Yes, or 50s Christmas lights, as Jane said. Yes. Let me show you this. Even though this is Jane with a Y, that's okay. Apparently that's allowed. And actually, I think vintage Christmas decorations are really coming back in as well, aren't they?
Yeah, there's been quite a lot of patterns in fabric this year with sort of vintage style. 1950s wrapping paper used to remind me of. Yeah. Lovely, isn't it? With very, very simple colours as well. Really just 3 colours. That lovely sort of deep crimson red, I would say. A lovely sort of leaf green. And that gorgeous mid-blue. That would have been quite a tricky fabric to print back in the day, I'm thinking, as well, because there would have been a lot
that's quite precise.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, so if I mentioned your name and you want to see your fabric, your namesake fabric, then please do get in touch. If you've got friends that are sewers, you could buy them a little piece, couldn't you, and give it to them for Christmas with here's a piece of your named... Here's a piece of you. Your named fabric. Yeah. And the boys don't get missed out either. No, you could make shirts. Because we've got the Mark and the James and the William and the Donald. Robin. Robin could be either as well, couldn't it, these days? Yes, I've got a friend who's got a granddaughter called Robin. Yes, and it might be Robin with a Y, but that's fine. That's fine. That's allowed. So we've made the strip there with the 5 squares, and then we've added the 2 squares to either side of the triangle, and then we're going to join that strip into the middle to make the block. Okay, so we're seeing details for Purple Audrey, which is the predominant one in this block, actually, isn't it? I'll just bring that down. In the quilt altogether, I think there's 4 of that block. I think there's 1 in each side. Yes. And it seems to be in the middle. Yes, it's north, south, east, west, I think, isn't it? So 12, 3, 6 and 9 if we're doing a clock. That's an 80-inch square quilt, by the way, and you've got the details over there just beyond Jane of the entire bundle. So that's 26 fabrics, 22 of the Devon County fabrics from the Quilters Guild, plus just 4 Macawa solids to complete the picture. And they are for trimmings, aren't they? They're for borders. Yes, there's and the background. There's the cream on the background here. Yes. Yes. And then that's the purple solid and the red and the green solid. Yes. Yeah. And this is just the bundle is just to make the quilt top. By the way, you'd need extra for binding if you wanted it for them. Which you could do in a Macawa solid if you wanted to. You could do in a calico if you wanted to. And again, if you want wadding or batting, if you have a look, you're on the website. Beyond us over there or down there somewhere in today's show products will be the wool batting, the 100% wool batting, and the cotton batting as well if you want, which is great. So now we're just sewing the other row to the top of the bottom of that block. So that's that block made. So it's quite quick to make, quite straightforward. Yeah. Doesn't take too much. Now, because I like playing and I always think about how things look differently. I did wonder. I twisted
just twisted the block around.
Ah, okay.
So that square is literally twisted round with the dark into the middle and twisted that part there and did a cream square in the middle.
Let's see if we can get a...
So if you put the
Eye in
4
the
blocks
sky.
together, you know, this block on its own would
just
make a nice quilt.
Twist that round to the camera so it sees it head on. There you go.
And you've got this secondary pattern going on here, and it also makes like a checkered border.
Yes.
So overall, you'd have like a sort of square effect, sort of like a check.
Yeah, and it comes beautifully together in the centre there, doesn't it?
Yeah. So, you know, just the block on its own, if you just chose to make that block, you could make lots of those blocks and it would make a nice quilt pattern.
I need to find Mary. Oh, Mary, yes. Almost a little... Hang on, it's right at the front. Sorry, Tim. This is very indelicate, but I need that one. Here's Mary. Yeah, we've got 22 today, so we're quite fabric heavy today, aren't we? Which is fabulous.
Yeah.
You used Mary in your switch it around, didn't you?
Yes, that's right. It's
lovely. Yeah, so here's Mary.
It's a pretty one, that is.
Now, imagery on Mary, what are we thinking? Because...
Again, I think it's that stylised leaf, and then these little dotted, but here, they look a little bit like buttons. Very tiny.
Yes, they do,
tiny
actually,
buttons
a little bit.
on there.
Yes. We don't have any Mary takers yet, though. Hannah's noted that, because we have lots of, is it Margaret's? Yeah, we have lots of Margaret's, buying Margaret.
What we like on time.
Oh, yes, this one here, which is, yes, it is William. You're right. I love this. This is gorgeous. And this lovely deep green. And actually, the fabrics with such a deep colour, Jane, as well, I guess originally probably would have been the more costly, wouldn't they?
I would think so, with the richer
More
dye.
printing,
yes.
Yeah. Beautiful.
But that green there, along with this one, looks reaching over, that's not very
That's
good.
all right, that's fine.
With this one that I think looks like Chinese lanterns.
This one here, Donald.
I think those two together look lovely.
They do, actually.
And again, of course, the one that's called Jane has got that lovely green in it as well. So that would...
Yeah, Jane has a green leaf in the mix.
You know, the 3 colours together. You've got your dark, medium, light, if you were just thinking of 3 colours for a traditional block.
Yeah. So this is William, this is Donald, and have a look on the website, and this one with the feathers, or the vintage lights, that's Jane. But we're really getting to know the family now, aren't we? This is great. We are going to just show a little bit of an overview of every one of the 22 Devon County fabrics that we have featured today. It's quite an awesome task to do this on TV, as I'm sure you can imagine. It's not easy to do. So any of those, even if you send Hannah a vague message through saying, the red one with the so-and-so on it, we will find it for you. I'm still loving, oh, okay. Dorothy Brown, excuse me, Jane, right at the front again. Here's Dorothy Brown. Dorothy Brown.
That's a good name.
Oh, beautiful. Lovely. That was my nan's maiden name, actually, was Brown. And actually, I could have seen her in a lovely skirt made of this kind of fabric back in the day. I'll be careful what I say there. I don't want to give away my own age, because I'm just 26, obviously, and a little bit of VAT. It's lovely, isn't it? Teresa's looking for that. Therese is looking for that, for Dorothy Brown. So there is Dorothy Brown. Fantastic. Any others that you want to see close up, again, let us know. studio@sewingquarter.com. Right, what are we looking at next?
Time to do the corner block.
Right, which is, yes, let's see. No, you can't see it, actually, can you? Because it's right up. Actually, let's look at it from, yes. Hang on, let's bring you a corner. Down here, here's a corner.
Can you just see it?
So it's this block here. That's the one we're going to be using right now. So that's a nice mix, actually, of different fabrics. Some beautiful colours as well, like a windmill of the yellows and reds there. Very, very nice. So that's the corner. You'll have to forgive us because this is such a big quilt to show in a not so big studio. It's an 80-inch square, this one. So we have got a combination here. Let me use my key and identify it. We've got robin. We have got a little bit of so we've got a little bit of robin going on. We have some James even. We've got robin red, yes, definitely. So robin, feathery. That's that one, isn't it? Susan.
Yes.
Susan, yes. And we're missing one, aren't we?
Audrey.
That one.
Audrey in the yellow.
Audrey yellow, yeah. So we get all of the details whizzing around for that. So that's the combination in this block, which is going into the corner of the quilt. Right.
Again,
okay.
In the pattern, it says to make your squares 6 1/4 and cut them into 4 diagonally.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just show you a quicker way of doing it, but there is a little twist to this.
Is here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I'm just showing Hannah. There you go. That's the one that we're showing. Audrey yellow at the bottom of the screen.
There is a little twist to this that you might change your mind about doing it using this method, but we'll plough on. So the 2 squares together, and we're going to do the same thing, diagonal line, making two half square triangles. Sewing 1/4 of an inch either side.
That's one side.
Just a little bit. There we go.
Oh, Jane, just
Yes.
very, very quickly.
Yes.
When Wendy has dropped us in a message. Remember in the last demo when we were talking about finishing, when we were talking about the backing.
Yes.
And you mentioned something to do with the centre seam and avoiding a seam in the centre. Would you just overview that again for us?
Just
quickly?
if you were doing it with your normal width fabric, which is usually 45, 112 centimetres, you would need to join it 2 pieces together, like salvage to salvage. So you'd need 2 for this size quilt, 2 metre pieces, join salvage to salvage. Take the salvage off first, obviously.
Yes.
But don't be tempted once you've done that seam and put it down the middle of the back of your quilt. Just offset it slightly, because generally speaking, we fold our quilts in half. You've got a weakness in that seam. So obviously not straight away, but over time it's going to weaken and it may come undone. And
So kind of 2/3 of the
yeah,
way?
about
or
2/3 of the way.
Or just away?
Yeah, just
somewhere off
just
the
so
centre.
it's not dead down the middle of the back of your quilt.
Great.
So we've got these two lots of half square triangles now. You press your seam to the dark side. I'll just quickly
Yeah, no,
do
go
that.
for it. The red colour that we're using right now, which is the red robin. Actually, let's switch places for a second.
Sorry.
We are putting across the bottom of the screen for you, which is down there, and which is this lovely darker red that we're using right now, which is lovely.
What we're going to do is we're going to place those 2 together. So you've got the yellow and the blue against each other, and the cream and the red. So the lights against the darks again. Lining up the seam, and because you've pressed your seam to the dark side, they're going to lock into each other.
Right.
You're just then going to do the diagonal line again across the opposite way to the seam. And you're going to sew 1/4 of an inch either side. I always sew towards the seam, and it just helps lock it into the
Okay, right.
the position
Yes.
to help with your points meeting.
Yeah.
So you get nice crisp points in theory. And then you're going to cut along there. And you'll do that with both pieces. I think we're just running a little bit out of time.
Yes.
So you do that with both of those, and you end up with your quarter square triangle with your 4 different colours in each one. No, I did some a bit earlier. You have to be careful because with one block, with the one set of 2,
yes,
you're going to end up with two going the other way. Now that sounds probably double Dutch, but if you can see that the red is on that side and it all goes round that way. Yes. If you look at these, if I try to put those together like that, it doesn't work. So you'll end up when you make the blocks with the correct number. Yeah. You can do it, but you'll end up with one spinning one way. She says, trying to make it.
Okay, right, yes.
And one spinning the opposite way.
Yes.
So I've got it here. I haven't quite got because it's from that one.
Yeah.
So you end up with, if I can show you with the finished block, if you can see, I move those out of the way.
I'll bring that one to the middle. Let's concentrate on that one,
You can see that one goes that way round and the other one goes the other way round.
Oh, I see, right. So if we compare the two, yes, there is a slight...
So if you want to do it so that all of your blocks are going the same way, then you will have to cut it like it says in the, and do it that way. Yeah.
Love it. Brilliant. Jane, do you know what? That was perfect timing, Jane, as well. Because for once in sewing quarter history, this was the moment, mark it, we are perfectly on time. When does that ever happen? Jane, thank you ever so much.
It was a pleasure.
When are you back with us?
Next Monday.
Yay! Fantastic. And what are you working on? Do you know?
I don't
Oh, good. Right. I love to ask our guest designers that because I think sometimes they might know and sometimes they might be thinking, yes, as soon as everything arrives, I'll let you know. Yes. So CGGC 33 is the entire bundle. That is all 26 fabrics, 22 of those Devon County fabrics, and 4 of those Macawa solids there as well. £215 and 49 pence. It's been very, very popular this morning as well. And remember, actually, we're making the entirety of this quilt as well, which is this 80-inch square quilt, which is absolutely beautiful, and we love it. And Jane, thank you ever so much for your hard work. Come back in, come back in, come back in. We can't move the cameras today because we're in Snow City. Any of these fabrics by the ½ metre as well. Yeah, I mean, apart from Jane, I mean, there's so difficult to choose.
Shall I just show you that different middle as well while we've got a few seconds?
Yes, so this was for this. Let's put it up against this one.
It's exactly the same pattern, but it's just different colourway.
Let's see if we can just, will it just sit,
you could pin
sort of. Look, there you go. So you can completely transform that middle medallion to something completely different. Actually, we'll see that from above as well, shall we? Because it's rather gorgeous. It is beautiful.
Exactly the same pattern, just different placement of colours, different fabrics, gives it a different effect.
Yeah.
So you can play around, and you've got plenty of fabric in the bundle to do that.
Yeah. And I just know that when you take this away, you're going to be heading to something closer to that, aren't you? Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jane. Amanda is with me in 3 minutes' time, and we have got, totes amazing. So stay right where you are. See you in a moment.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love.
Hi, I'm Paul Clark, and here are my 3 top tips for dressmaking. My first top tip is the way I pin fabric. I always pin parallel to the edge of the fabric, so it gives me a visible sewing line when I'm stitching. My second top tip is pinning a garment together and then trying it on before you do actually do any sewing. That way you can make sure if there's any fit adjustments you need to make. My third top tip is when sewing a curve, such as an underarm seam, Sew it first, then trim it as close as you can to that original sewing, and it will stop any puckering underneath the arms.
It's easy to buy the products you see on our shows. To buy any of the items featured on today's programmes, just head over to our website www.sewingquarter.com. Click on the video stream and you'll be taken to our watch page. Here you'll find the product that is on air right now at the top of the page. Beneath that, you'll find all the products demonstrated in this morning's shows. To add an item to your basket, simply log into your account or register with us. Then you can either check out or keep shopping. Remember, our flat rate delivery charge lets you shop all day and check out as many times as you like and only pay once for postage and packing. Only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78. Tune in at 9 AM on Wednesday the 13th of December to see Victoria Peat recreate this gorgeous rainbow hexes cushion by Joe Westfoot. Featured in the brand new edition of Love Patchwork and Quilting, this machine applique cushion is a great way to experiment with colour. Victoria will also be enlarging the design into a coordinating quilt, and she'll be sharing her expert advice to help you along the way. It's the perfect project to work on during your post-Christmas downtime and a great way to add a splash of colour into your home. So join Victoria on Wednesday the 13th of December for this fun project, only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
Welcome back, everyone. There you are. Look, there you are. If you could sit still. We have got another hour together on this morning's Sewing Quarter, and it is totes amazing. It's beautiful. I have been waiting to see a demonstration and to be part of a demonstration that uses the PU leather for a long, long time. So this will be a great fascination to me, actually. And if you want to create this rather stylish tote bag, then you certainly can from the pattern that we are about to show you. And I love this because it's not just the handles in the PU leather, but you've got this lovely side panel here on either end. I told you about those earrings, Chris, not to wear those. He's dropped one again. That's all. It's all fine. It's all fine. So you're using the PU leather in these side panels here, side pockets actually, and also in the fastening on the inside as well, which is really, really lovely. And inside, let me show you, although it's a lovely sort of mint green and blue, but inside you've got a beautiful contrasted lining. You can see we're using that PU leather to bring the magnetic clasp together as well. So it's a really, really lovely sort of candy floss pink, and there's lots of pockets in this bag as well. So it's very, very utilitarian as well. I like it. Very, very nice indeed. So let me show you said bundles to make the bag, because we have three different options actually. We do have the very option that we've made up here, which is this one. So it's 2.5 meters of fabric in all. You get the PU leather in the duck egg colour. You get 0.5 meter of that. You've also got the two other fabrics there as well, which are beautiful. Candy Floss Spray Time, which is 0.5 meter. And you've also got the Art Gallery Fresh Magnolia Study Fabric. That's from the Wild Bloom range. You also get your thread bingo. It's a reel of 196 Gutermann thread. You've got your magnetic clasp. You've got your iron-on interfacing, plus your pattern. Now, you see the 4 images in the pattern. We are making a B, which is the one in the bottom left corner, but there are 4 different options on the pattern if you want to investigate that further. So that's to make that bag. Next colourway is this one, which is a lovely deep green. So it's the same dimensions available for you. So you've got the PU leather in beige, 0.5 meter of that. You've got 0.5 meter of your Lewis and Irene Drawing Room Blooms on Rose fabric, and you've got 0.5 meter of your linen texture fabric Macara in olive. You've got the magnetic snap clasp, which is a silver tone, the iron-on interfacing, and the pattern there as well for you for £47.49. That's BHGC 66. And Bundle number 3 is this one here. Sorry, I'm smiling because I keep looking at the wrong camera. I keep looking over there. I don't know what's over there. Nothing fascinating. You're there. Here's your third bundle. So you've got a completely different colourway going on this. It's a lovely sort of fuchsia and pink going on here. Orchid and grey. So the PU leather, half a metre of that in a lovely grey. Fabric-wise, it's Michael Miller's It's a Wildlife fabric in raspberry. And it's the Spectrum Solid in deep orchid, both half meters of that, plus the interfacing, the pattern, the thread, thread bingo, 493 in the grey, and you've got your magnetic clasp there as well. I'm loving thread bingo. We've been playing it all weekend. It's brilliant. We also have some fabric bundles minus the patterns and all of the other gubbins and kind of. So if you want to combine. Should we start with the one that we made the bag in, which is the Magnolia? So this is just half a metre of the PU leather, which is such a gorgeous colour as well. It's really, really nice. And it's a good strength as well, actually, without being too tough, without being too dense. So it's half a metre of the PU leather in Duck Egg, half a metre of the Art Gallery Fresh Magnolia from the Wild Bloom Rain, and half metre of the Spray Time fabric by Macawa in Candy Floss, which is lovely. Spray Time's really nice, actually. It's gorgeous, almost like a linen texture. It's very, very nice indeed. Second bundle is the deep green. So again, we've got that lovely PU leather this time, half a metre of that in, I think we call this one a deep dark beige, do we? Yes, in beige. Then you've got half a metre of your Lewis and Irene Drawing Room Blooms on Rose fabric, and your linen texture olive from Macawa half metre as well, which both have very, very nice sort of texture to them. Lovely. That's gorgeous, actually. And third bundle, we're going to make the bag in a second, don't worry. We just have to do all the business stuff first. Here's the other fabric-only bundle. So it's the PU and the 2.5 metres of fabric as well. This is the third one. This is that lovely orchid and pink combination there. So you get half a metre of your grey PU leather fabric. You get your half metre of Michael Miller's It's a Wildlife fabric in raspberry, and half a metre of your Spectrum Solid deep orchid from Macawa for £26 and 99 pence, which is lovely. Right. Okay, the bundle that we saw, the pre-made bag, the one we saw that Amanda has made for us already, the details are there for you. So that's half a metre of your PU in Duck Egg. It's your, there's loads going on there actually. Your Art Gallery Fresh Magnolia half metre, already limited, I have to say. It's always the one that you've seen, isn't it, that goes limited straight away. Remember, that is the one with the pattern and the iron-on interfacing and the snap magnetic clasp, and Uncle Tom Cobley and all. Oh, Amanda, I'm glad you're back. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm fine.
Right, now we're making, because we've made in this already. You've done that for us, haven't you? So step by step now in the Magnolia and pink, isn't it?
Yeah, olive and, is it olive? Is it olive or grey or?
Orchid and grey.
Orchid and grey,
yes.
Okay, fine. Yeah, it's a great pattern. I've made one of the pattern pieces on a previous programme, so it's a really good, useful pattern to have. Okay,
anything to note, just because this interests me, because elsewhere on TV I talk about shoes, and shoes are either leather or pleather, as we call PU leather. Any words of caution, anything to note when you're using PU leather fabric?
No, it cuts beautifully. It sews fine. You can iron it, but on the wrong side only. Yes. Okay. Does it have like a fabric back to it? Yeah. Almost, well, I've put interfacing onto this. Okay. Okay. Yeah. And when I say on the ironing front, having said that, I did iron the straps that I've prepared. When I turned the edge in, I've just carefully sort of like gone along it. All right. But if you do sort of like want to iron on the front, I would just recommend putting a cloth between it. Okay. So it's really good. It can stick a little bit under the presser foot. So either a little bit of masking tape under the presser foot or a roller foot. Okay. A roller foot is a great sort of little gadget, little foot attachment where the camera can get in. So, and it just literally does roll across the top
Oh, okay, so it's got like a little wheel inside it.
And it just literally then glides across the top of it.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
that's lovely, like a little racing car.
Yeah, that is obviously sort of like my own.
You can find those, by the way, if your sewing machine doesn't have a rolling foot. Have a little look on our website, should be there. If not, speak to the team, 0800 112 4443. Okay,
so I've made loads of bags. I think when I first came on the show, I was pretty much every time, bag. I was like the bag lady. They're really easy. I think the main thing with bag construction is the cutting out and the preparation.
Right.
You just need to be a little bit methodical and sort of just plan out what pieces you want, because you generally tend to have quite a lot of different pattern pieces. And so when my bundles sort of come and I'm like, oh, okay, what do they want where and whatever, and you can play around. So I tend to get my pattern pieces cut out and then just have my patterns and lay those on where I want. Sort of like that fabric bundle, that fabric piece, that, and then I can then go with it. Because you are literally sometimes feel as though you're cutting the bag out 3 times by the time you've got your main bag, then the lining, then the interfacing. So it is a lot of the preparation that's in it. Bag construction wise, really quite straightforward.
Oh, sorry, I just have to backtrack and correct something. On all of the bundles there, sorry, this is our silly gadget thing. There's 2.5 meters of fabric in the fabric bundles on their own and in the kits as well. I'm so sorry. So does that mean there is, right, so 1 meter each of the 2 coloured fabrics and 1/2 meter of the PU? Is that how it works?
Yeah. I thought it was 1/2 meter of the lining.
Right. Pattern fabric is 1.5 meters, solid, 1/2 meter, 1/2 meter of the PU. Yep. Apologies. Okay. The way everything is formatted here is not great.
There's loads of the PU because it is such a wide fabric anyway, so there's plenty of that. Obviously the lining is only for that one piece inside and your pocket, so you've got plenty to go with. And then the actual print, there's lots of that to go with. Okay, so the front and the back and the sides, literally 2 squares, 2 oblongs. So I've already started constructing that. So it literally is got 1 seam to do, and then that will give us our actual main bag shape.
Actually, will you do all of that again for us, just from the outside, because we were looking from above?
Okay, so we've got back, side, front, side.
Yep.
So you're just literally constructing those.
Yep.
And so the very last one, okay, and then that will give us our...
Oh, the internal.
Bag shape, okay, which will be this piece.
That feels almost too easy.
Okay, so as I say, construction-wise, bags are a doddle. I think it is just the methodical piece that you need to be on your cutting out. So you can put your pins in this PU, okay? Try and keep it within the seam allowance. Seam allowance on this, I think is either 1/2 inch, I can't remember off the top of my head, 1/2 inch or 1 centimetre. I think it's 1/2 inch, but as long as you're keeping everything constant, it really doesn't matter. Okay. So as I say, you can put your pins in, not a problem. I generally try to keep them into the seam allowance. A little bit of reverse, straight down the side. So as I say, it sews beautifully from the reverse of the fabric. It is just when you actually stitch in on the front of the fabric that it can just stick a little bit.
Right.
A bit of reverse stitch. Okay. So what I've done is from the top, the pattern will tell you, reverse stitch at the top, and as you go down to the bottom, you're just leaving your seam allowance open at the end. Okay, and it just makes putting the base of the bag on a lot easier. Okay. So for the base then, if we line up the side pieces, oops,
just hold that dead still
just
so that
hold
we can
it through there. Okay, so just lining up the shorter ends, pop in my pins.
Here it is, yeah.
And then same the other end, and then the long edges will just then fit in nice. And you've got a bit of movement as well with the PU, so you can stretch it, ease it, in if you feel that you need to in any area. There we go. Okay, and so as I say, the long area then just fits in quite nicely.
And which ones of those will you sew first? Will you go the long, or will you go the ends first?
I generally tend to sort of start about 2/3 the way down a long sort of stretch. I wouldn't start too close to a corner. And then a lot of people tend to find it a little bit tricky, or sort of kind of pause when they go to a corner, but they really are quite easy to do. Okay. So plenty of pins, or you can always pinch the bag clips or the little clips from the quilters if you wish to. Yeah, the wonder clips. So I do tend to pinch quite a lot of the bits that the quilters use.
Yep, Hannah's just gone to find some for you as well. They're always available on our website.
Yeah, they're just a good sort of staple to have in your stash. Okay, so I'm going to start, as I say, about 2/3 of the way down.
Right.
If you have the function
I'll just move your pins, actually.
Yeah, thank you. Sink your needle. It's always a good idea, just because you are then actually...
There's quite a lot of bulk there, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a lot of bulk, and because you're going to be stopping and starting, you don't want anything to slip unnecessarily. So I'm working down, and the idea, the best bit that I've found when negotiating your corners is literally sort of just walk to your seam allowance. So you're just stopping before the seam allowance. Your needle's in, lift the presser foot. Okay, so everything, I don't know whether the reverse can sort of see that it's nice and flat. So as we turn, we then push the underneath back.
Ah, okay, right, yes.
Okay.
And because it is so flexible, it will allow you to do that completely, won't it?
So again, working along, stopping just as I get to my seam allowance, up, push the back piece backwards, and off we go again.
And I have to tell you, I'm not sure, you know, I don't want to cast aspersions. It may be Amanda's rate of borrowing the Wonder clips, but there are only 4 packets remaining in the company right now.
I thought you were going to say in the country then. I was like, oh my life.
No, just in our stocks at the moment. So if you're looking for those, dash to the website right now and throw them straight into your basket if you want some. I think we've got a couple of different sizes available.
Great little stocking filler as well.
Yes.
There we go. So, last edge. And if you're ever in sort of like a bit of doubt if your stitching is going to be strong enough to hold it, just literally go round again, just to give that extra little bit of reinforcement.
Yeah.
Reverse. Okay.
I suppose the joy of making a bag like this as well is that you know what you want to put into it if it's for you, so you know the size of the pockets that you need to have. If you ever, you know, every time you look at bags on the high street and you start opening, because that's what ladies do, isn't it? First thing to do is open them up, right? Oh, well, those pockets are no good, or that lining I can't see, or whatever it is.
Oh, my biggest frustration is when you think, oh yeah, the black linings, yeah. And then when you think that you've got sort of different compartments, but it's just like swinging, the middle pocket swings loose. So every time you put something into the right or left, it just falls all to the bottom, and then you're just rummaging around like a Mary Poppins bag. Okay, so that is the main construction then of the bag. And as I say, on that bottom piece, whether the camera can then get in, those corners just sit nicely. Okay, through there.
Do you know what my head has just imagined and seen the stages of something like a booster cushion that you could make yourself out of something like this as well, couldn't you? Using that same kind of method, couldn't you?
Yeah, no problem.
I'm thinking, how would you do the other end? But, you know, you'd find a way.
There's a way.
Yeah. Okay,
now, in the kit, and I didn't put it in that one, and it was only simply because I half constructed at the studio on Saturday, and I thought, yeah, I'll just finish that off and I'll come back up and I'll cut the other bag out tomorrow. But of course, 10 inches of snow later. I couldn't get off the estate
Yeah.
of where we live. So, and it was and it still is in the studio, is you've got the bag, the bases, okay, that you can then
which you can cut to size,
cut
can't
to
you?
size and insert that into the bottom, which will give the bag that little bit more stability.
Yes.
Okay.
Let me show you. There you go. I'll just bring up the details for those just very, very quickly because these are very, very good. Again, designed by Nancy Zeman, who created the seams right, didn't she?
Yeah.
And it's just basically it's like, when you see it in the packaging, I'm just going to lift this up, Tim. When you see it in the packaging, it's sort of super, super flexible, but it has a really, really nice strength to it. So you literally just cut it to the size of your base, don't you?
And just sort of curve the edges as well a little bit. I found that it's quite easy to do. Just curve those and it just sort of sits in the base quite nicely. And as I say, it just gives the base of your bag a little bit more support.
And you can stitch through it as well, can't you?
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so that's the main bag piece done. Then onto the lining. So you're cutting 2 pieces out of your lining and you've got these little corners that are already cut out and they're just going to create your box corners.
Okay, so that's these 2 here.
Yeah. Okay. And then you've got your pocket piece. So again, I've started preparing this. So it's like one strip. You double hem the top edge, okay, and just stitch along. And then on the one end, it's got 2 little darts. So I've created the one, and that just then enables, it gives you that part of the pocket a little bit of depth. So it's ideal to, if you're dropping your mobile phone into it, something a little bit more bulkier. Okay, so I've marked it with the tracing wheel on the pattern onto the fabric, and then I generally, on the dart legs, just give it a little bit of a nip into the fabric, just so I know that they're meeting together. And right sides together, and we can then stitch along those. And normally when we do a dart in dressmaking, we will just literally stitch off the end and pull the threads so you've got a long area and tie so you don't get a bubble on the end of your dart. With the bag, okay, because you don't want little bits of thread at the bottom, okay, what I tend to do is, I don't know whether the camera is just about in, is lift the presser foot up, okay, and just stretch back about 1 centimetre and re-stitch that last centimetre over the top.
Okay, right, yes.
And then that way I can then snip right to the edge and you've got no little tassels.
Right,
okay. Then press under all of the edges, okay, through, which I was doing earlier. And then you've got a placement line on your pattern piece.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Again, I've just gone over with the tracing wheel, just literally to make my marks.
Yeah, so you won't see it, but there is you can see like a
just a little bit of a indentation. You can use your carbon paper if you wanted to as well, if you wanted a little bit more of a shape, but a bit more definition. Okay, so making sure I've just got the one piece at this moment in time.
Yeah. So we should have put this on a green match.
Yeah,
really.
pink on
pink
pink.
on pink here.
Okay, so I'm then just going to match up that line. I just pressed it in to give me a little bit of a marker from the top. And then if you stitch down that line, that division line first, then we can then actually go all the way around.
Okay.
Okay, to anchor
While
that
you're
into
doing that,
place.
I've got some news to deliver, which is the bundle that we are seeing right now, which is the orchid and grey, the details that are over there, just past Amanda there. That's in single figures. The bundle also to make the magnolia and duck egg, which is the details at the bottom of the screen, that's also in single figures as well. So both of those bundles, remember, include the pattern, the iron-on interfacing, the thread, the snap fastening, and 2.5 meters of fabric. Apologies for my rundown at the beginning. Whatever the pattern fabric is in the bundle, you get 1.5 meters of. The plain, the solid, you get 0.5 meter of, and 0.5 meter of the PU in both the bundles with the patterns and the fabric-only bundles as well, which we only may have time to run through at the end of the hour. Let's see how things go. Right, so we've gone through...
So I've just attached the division on there. And then we're just going to place, just put a couple of strategic pins in to our area. And it's a really lovely bundle that got a ready-made gift, really. So. Okay, now you can see where those darts are now coming in. And just give the pocket that nice bit of depth to it.
That's going to be a handy pocket, actually, isn't it?
There we go. Right.
That's going to be a...
Stitch this into place. Always remember to put a little bit of reverse stitch at the top and the bottom. I'm just going to move my needle position over. There we go. Off we go. A little bit of reverse just to make sure that it's nice and secure. As I say, the bundle's really nice as a present, or if this snow continues, you've got a nice project to make up while it snows. Every snow day is a sew day. And then if you can bear to give it away, you could actually then give it as a present.
See, that's the thing though, isn't it? When you've made it up, suddenly you're falling in love along the way, aren't you, with the care and attention you've put into it. And suddenly then you have to come back for another bundle.
There we go. Not all done. I keep losing my scissors. There we go.
There they are.
Okay, so pocket in place then.
Very good, look. Ta-da!
So plenty of room on those.
Nice.
So right sides together. Matching up the seams. It's a drop-in lining, so you're going to sew down both sides and along the bottom. Just exclude these little corners at the moment. Okay. So again, a couple of pins just to hold it. I think there's a squeaky floorboard here. Every time I move, I can hear it going.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Either that or I've trod on a mouse.
No,
or
it's definitely the floor. Never mind. We're coming up to our year anniversary. It's maybe time for a bit of redecoration or.
Gone so quickly.
I know. That's come around quickly, isn't it? Nearly a year of the sewing quarter.
One side.
Thank you, lovely Lorraine in Wrexham, for your message as well, by the way. Hi, loved all the shows this weekend, and today I'm binding my first quilt whilst watching SQ. Happy days, Lolly. Thank you, Lorraine.
Fantastic.
Have a lovely day. And how's the weather up there in Wrexham? Are you thawing out now? I'm not sure. Did you get any snow up there? I think you did, actually. We had some snowy pictures from Flintshire yesterday, didn't we, I think? And a nice message from Susan as well. Who says, I'm Susan. Oh, this is about the Devon County fabrics we were seeing in the last hour. My mum was Annie and my aunt is Mary. I've bought a metre of each. I don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it will be special, says Susan. Fantastic. Well done, you. Susan in South Yorkshire, talking about the bundle of the fabrics which made up this gorgeous quilt behind us.
Okay, so we've got our 3 long areas with our holes in the ends.
Yeah.
Okay. So to create the box pleats, we are putting the seams together, okay? So it goes from being sort of flat and then bringing it round so the side seam meets the base seam.
Okay.
Okay. And then we can then literally sew across those. You can either open your seam allowances out or you can push one to one side and one to the other. It really doesn't matter. Okay, because you're not going to see any of it.
Ah, I see. And would this apply to pretty much any drop-in bag lining that you want to be? This ends up being square?
Yes, it will.
Yeah.
It's what gives you the depth
Yeah.
of your bag. So it's a real standard way of doing it. Whether you're doing sort of like little makeup bags, cosmetic bags, things like that, or any of the totes. Pencil cases you can do it on. There we go. So that's our liner with our pocket on. Okay.
Yep.
A few frilly bits that will get tucked in. So that will then go in that way round. Okay, so wrong sides to wrong sides.
Yes.
Okay. So next thing we need to think about is this outer part. Okay, sort of the external pockets which link round.
Let's just have a little while we've got this fabric, because we didn't get a great huge look at it. In fact, I'll turn it round so the imagery is the right way round for you. This is the lovely orchid, isn't it? The lovely orchid. It's 1.5 meters in this bundle. It's a Michael Miller fabric. It's gorgeous, isn't it?
It's absolutely beautiful. Now I've marked my fabric because I kind of went off piece a little bit, and which I am a little bit renowned to doing so. What you can do on the pattern piece, I don't know whether we can see in here, the inside lining, okay, you've got the border, and then you can actually put your lining as the bottom piece. It's actually, the pattern will be cut into two. But I sort of thought, well, because I was actually using the same fabric, I just cut literally 2 of the pattern pieces out.
Yeah.
Because it was directional, I folded it down central, down a centre piece. So I've got that panel going through the front. The same on the back. But for the actual inner lining piece, because I was like trying to save a little bit of fabric, so there's something left over to make something else that's really pretty. It doesn't really matter on the inside, okay, that it's not dead central, because you're not going to see it.
No.
So I just marked the pieces that I wanted on the outside. That's why I've put those on there.
Okay.
Okay. So you've got 4 pieces of these. You're literally sewing through that curved area. If I take it to the wrong side, you literally are sewing through that curved area, which is this front shaped piece on the bag. Okay. And then I just joined the side pieces together all the way through. Okay. And stitched down both sides, and then gave it a nice press out, which then gives us our overall shape.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
That is then going to be put right sides to right sides. And I have already, again, I don't know whether the camera can pick it up, I've already marked, again, there's a placement line on the pattern piece.
You might
and I
barely
just
see
went
it.
over
It's just
with
long.
the tracing wheel, just so I've got a slight indentation, perforation mark on each of the pieces around.
No, just I'll have to take our word for it. Yes, you can sort of see a little dotted line along there.
Very faint. Okay.
Obviously, it only needs to be very, very faint, because it's only an
Obviously,
indicator, isn't it?
I'm sort of like, I can see it. Okay, so we're then going to line the fabric up with that line. Now your side seams are going to go middle point of the side areas of the side of the bag. It probably might have been a little bit easier if I hadn't put the base of the bag on, but we will get there. So a couple of pins.
Just
Again,
to secure those seams to the centre point.
Yeah, and then I'm just lining up the raw edges of the base of that pocket along that perforated line that I've made.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
This is great actually, because on face value it looks like trying to climb Everest, but actually, once you've got the pins in the right strategic places,
yeah, it's just holding it.
It kind of fixes itself, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just a case of taking a bit of time just to line everything up, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
The wheel that you used to make the impressions, what did you say the wheel was called again?
It's a tracing wheel.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do we have, Hannah, I can't hear anything from above, actually. Oh, there you are. Do we have any tracing wheels? This would be useful, I think, to have. Useful to have a little search on the website at sewingquarter.com.
Again, it's a real good base that you need in your stash. Okay, so I'm in place. I've just checked that that's in the centre. Taken off the sleeve area base of my sewing machine and just keeping, I've lost my perforation line a bit. Yeah, that's it. Okay.
Okay, we're going to try and get a view of this.
So obviously when you're doing it at home, just take your time. I'm trying to get as many components in as possible. So we've got right sides together and it's going to flip up and you won't see the raw edges inside. And again, because we're sewing on the cotton onto the pleatherer, it's just gliding through beautifully. Okay, so I'm just holding that there. Making sure I'm still in line.
We've got a lovely message from Margaret. She says, morning, Derek and Amanda.
Good morning.
Have loved all the demos today. It's been a lovely 4 days as well. Ah, thank you, Margaret. How lovely. Bless you. I'm quite liking how relatively relaxed this hour is. I quite like it. Well, for me it is. I don't know about you, Amanda, but for me, I'm having the time of my life. We're all enjoying it.
I don't know whether does that mean you it felt quite hectic the last hour I was on.
No, not at all. I just think we're taking the weekend as a whole.
Yeah.
We've been one big happy family all weekend. Yeah, we went on holiday last night, myself and Hannah and Chris. So because we were holed up in the city centre in all the snow. So yeah, we've kind of been through it. So you're kind of like a therapist in some kind of way, Amanda. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. We're liking it. Getting us through that final barrier. Tash will be back tomorrow. I've heard a rumour. Yeah, Tash will be back tomorrow on the Sewing Quarter. We'll check out on the menu just before midday. And then I'll get to wish you Merry Christmas again before I go, because I wasn't expecting to be here today. It was all fixed up yesterday afternoon. That's because John Scott drives a noddy car, you see. Can't get it out the snow. He's got a lightweight car, haven't you, John? Bless him. He'll thank me for saying that. And luckily, I had enough Christmas jumpers. I don't know. It just miracle on 34th Street. I had 5. I've learnt from my jaunts around different telly studios, always be prepared to hang around for another shift. Never assume it's just the 1 or the 3. Be prepared. I was a scout as well. That does help.
Oh, my sister lives in Canada, so she just laughs at us when we have a bit of snow.
Oh, we just can't cope. First flake falls, and that's it, I'm afraid. We were in this station last night, in the train station at Birmingham New Street, and the announcements were just hilarious. If your train details aren't on any of the boards or aren't being talked about, just assume it's cancelled. That's it. Whoa, I was like, wow, now that's great. I've just arrived in Birmingham. I'm ready to leave now. I've been here for 10 days. Got 2 great big suitcases. Can't find my train on the board.
If you're not on the board, you cancel.
And the man just says, well, just assume if you can't see the details, it has been cancelled. Great, thanks for that. Lovely.
Okay.
Anyway.
So, there we go. We got there in the end.
Round, yeah?
Yeah, all the way round. And as I say, because you're then bringing it up, you've got a nice neat edge, okay, through the base. We then match the top up, a couple of pins will be fine. So you can baste across that if you wish to, okay? And then the lining will then get dropped into said bag.
That's lovely, isn't it?
I've worked loads with this pleather and it's so nice.
Yeah.
So again, remembering that your side seam of your lining goes in the centre,
right in the centre,
side piece of your bag.
So we're doing a very similar thing here, just again looking like we're trying to achieve the impossible, but it all comes together. What's your background, Amanda? Tell me your story.
Ooh,
I'm a nosy beggar.
No.
How did it all start in fabric for you?
Gold satin knickers.
Sorry? Gold satin
You'll have wished you didn't ask me.
Right.
Yeah.
Those 3 magic words?
Yeah, gold satin knickers.
Right, go on, explain now.
Okay,
now you've said that word.
Right, so my daughter, I've always sewn, I've always loved to sew.
Right.
So when I was sort of like early teens and I had a sewing machine and did, when I was like setting up home, did curtains and things like that. But it really sort of took to fruition when I'd had my children, and it was mainly my daughter, and I got into it. And she does Irish dancing. And the dressmaker at the time wanted about £25 for a pair of, they're called kick knickers that they wear under their dresses.
Yes.
And some of the mums were going, oh, that's a bit pricey and whatever. And before I knew it, I was like, somebody said, I can make those, said me. Didn't know whether I could, had a go. 25 pairs later, I did. Then I started playing around with various bits and bunting for her. And it just really sort of, I found my love of sewing again, and it just sort of transpired from there, really.
And now it's your life and business.
So yeah, then the hobby got out of control, really. And hence I opened up a fabric, an haberdashery
and
quite close to here.
Professionally,
yeah.
Because I always think this is fascinating. People that come professionally into this world come from an utterly different world. So what were you doing?
I started life out as a hairdresser, so I suppose there is a creative aspect to it. I then went into teaching, a teaching career in hairdressing.
Right.
At an FE college.
Yeah.
And then, because I was quite methodical with various bits, I then got moved into the curriculum, so on the quality side of things. So I went across, so I did anything from horticulture and pigs and equine, things like that, and sort of just helped people with their teaching aspects.
Right.
So yeah, that's a...
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, so little tags. Okay, I've put a little bit of interfacing in. That one was obviously a bit short, just to reinforce it. So these tags.
Oh, right, yes.
Okay.
So we're working on...
These are just go on the inside, and this is where your magnetic clips go. Okay.
There you go. We're
so
coming
they will
in from
keep
above.
everything nice
so
and
it's
secure.
these that we're making.
Okay.
Which they do meet when they haven't got a great big pillow stuffed in the middle of them.
Okay. So, said pattern piece.
Okay.
So on that one, I cut it out of the pleather and backed it with the lining. This one, I just thought, well, I'll do with the lining. So you've got a little dot of where it's going to be centred. So with a marker on the wrong side, just peel back, just put your dot into place. Again on that one.
Oh, great news. I've just heard. In Birmingham Central, no new snow. Hooray!
I don't think we're going to get any more snow now. I quite like it.
Well, I liked it, but the novelty has worn off slightly. And I still need to get back to North Yorkshire at lunchtime, so fingers crossed. I don't mind being at home and it's snowing.
as I say, yesterday was it was lovely. Unfortunately, I had a course that had to be cancelled because I had some people coming from Shropshire, and the day before it was like, don't think it's going to happen. It was like, well, no. Okay, so I've just literally marked, okay, either side where the prongs are, yeah, of where I want to just put literally 2 little nips into the fabric. Okay, and then from the right side, you push the prongs through. Okay. You get a little washer that goes over the top. Yeah. And then you bend those little arms out. Okay. So same on this side. To say just 2 little nicks, because the prongs will push through quite nice and easy. But it's just advisable to put a little bit of interface in just to support and reinforce the fabric.
Actually, do you know, when they're in place, they're absolutely rock solid, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I know that's a turn of phrase, but I mean they're incredibly strong.
And then you just bend back the prongs, and the prongs do bend back quite nice and easy, and then they will.
That's it.
Click into place.
2 become 1.
Okay.
Oh,
then we
sorry,
need to. No, it's all right.
all
Well, then we
day.
need to put our backing on. So rather than cutting 4 pieces, I just literally pin that then onto some spare fabric, and we're going to stitch around. And this one, and it does say on the pattern piece, it's a 1/4 inch seam allowance on these. Okay. Obviously, the magnet does then stick to the side.
Okay.
The metal plate.
Oh, now I just need to move this just so we can we can get in and have a look. Thank you, lovely Janet in Carmarthenshire as well. Lovely message. Thank you for the lovely bonus today. Lots of information and getting to see Derek again. Oh, bless you. That's very, very kind. Jan in Carmarthenshire. No snow here. I bet there'll be none in North Yorkshire when I get back, actually. I'll miss it when I'm not in it. But there you go.
Have they had much up there?
I don't think so.
No?
I don't think so, no. And say again? Oh, Carol. Carol in the Scottish borders, but she's actually in Crewe. Here she is. Hello, Derek. Great shows today with the lovely Jane and Amanda. Well done for braving the weather conditions. Well, we did have to. I mean, there was 3 of us. We were like a, you know, like a South Pole expedition going through, you know, in Hannah's case, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, you know. It's okay. We got there in the end. We had a lovely, lovely one-night holiday in Birmingham. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I was offered lodgings for the evening, but
Oh, were you?
yeah, I'm only sort of half an hour away.
Well, you should have taken it. You should have taken it up. I mean, it was me. It was me dishing out the hotel rooms last night. I've got to claim it all back. Jane, Chris, Hannah, me. Yes, I'll just pay for all of the rooms. No problem. It's fine. We had a bit of a credit card problem. Not mine.
Okay, so we then turn that the right way round.
No, that's not why, Tim. I'm not repeating that, but that's not why, Tim, at all.
How are we doing for time?
We're all right. I think we've got about another 8 minutes together.
Okay, so I shan't bother doing that one, but you do the same on those.
Yeah. Oh,
okay.
let's get the bag back. Back.
Careful.
There's pins in there.
Everywhere. Pins
There's
galore.
many pins in there.
Okay, so this is then, again, you've got markers on your pattern piece, but this is going to sit central. Okay, you're right.
I'm not crying, don't worry, it wasn't that. I was just an eyelash. I'm fine, I'll live.
Oh, I must admit, I've like stabbed myself and scraped pins along me.
I haven't bored you with this story yet, but I've recently started beading. So the reason I have such a rough thumb is because my beading needle spends most of its time in the top of my thumb.
Embedded into it, yeah.
Great.
Okay. So you'd position the other one that side. If I just catch that into place, we can at least get rid of 2 pins.
Hannah's trying to offer me thimbles now.
Yeah, actually, have you tried the stick-on thimbles?
Well, Hannah's just suggested it.
They're really good.
Do you know what she did? She said, do you know what? I think I might get you one. And she said, well, actually, I'll find you the item number. So it changed from a gift to a
purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you on commission, Hannah?
Right. Well, then you'd have your other piece in place, your other tag. Okay.
Yes.
You've then got 2 of these bands. On this one, I decided to go PU on the outside and a fancy lining, where on that one I did the 2 pieces.
2 pattern
pieces.
Yeah.
So that's the lovely thing about it, that you can just literally design yourself
as you
whatever
go
you
along.
want to.
And you've enough materials to do all of that?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Okay, so, and it is a quick, I mean, as I say, yesterday, I was a bit, when they said, do you want a room? And I was like, no, I think I'll be fine. I said, my biggest problem is I haven't got my demo package because I can't get off the drive. And it was like, well, you can cut out in the morning, sort of from here, but I did manage to get into the shop and just pick it up. So yeah, I have literally cut out this morning.
And time, we'll get here 2 hours before the show, just if you want a little bit of background information. And it turns out, yes, 1, it's important, so we know who's here and who isn't. But 2, that time just disappears. It's like those minutes just fall away. And before we know it, it's 3, 2, 1, and hello, good morning.
Okay, so we put the outer band on, so right sides together. And we're going to stitch that in place all the way around. Then the handles can go into place. And then the top, the inner band, then goes over the top of that and gets tucked around. And voila, that is your bag done.
This is great.
So, as I say, it's not, I think it does, it does take longer to cut your pattern out in pieces than it does to actually construct said bag. Okay. Obviously, I'm going to have a tag missing, but this is only the demo one, so
no, that's fine.
I'm not going to worry too much.
I'm glad that we've got quite so far in the time that we've had. So that shows what a chilled, relaxed show it has been for me.
It doesn't normally happen. I don't normally ever finish anything. I'm usually sort
there
of
you go, you see.
But the idea is not to finish things. It's just, I'd just like to sort of bring different components and any tips that I can to it.
Well, I'm loving that general method that we used for the actual outer of the bag in the PU. I think how to box the corners off and everything else. I think that's a valuable skill to have.
Yeah, they're sort of like, they're basic bag construction techniques.
But it's only basic if you're experienced in it,
But it's like, it's if you've not sort of thought about making a bags before, then I would highly recommend having a go. I mean, it's been the lovely thing about being part of sort of the Sewing Quarter team this year. Although I sew loads of different things, my list of to do and have a go and things like that is endless.
Yeah, and you never get round to it.
And you don't always get round to it. You sort of tend to sort of stick to what you need, what you know.
So we send you a bundle and say...
And it's like, and it really has forced me to make lots and lots of different sort of bags and techniques and things like that. So, as I say, it really is.
It's great. It's a pleasure to watch as well. Denise in West Yorkshire. Hello, Denise. She's agreeing with me. She's saying, it's so relaxing watching you while I'm doing the ironing. Thanks for the great tips and ideas. There is no snow in our part of Yorkshire. Oh, Denise. And you're in West Yorkshire and I'm further north than you. That's rubbish, isn't it? I genuinely was stuck in the snow in Birmingham. It's like no one told Birmingham that snow was coming yesterday morning.
Well, when they said it was on its way, it was like, yeah, right.
Yeah,
we'll probably
it won't be that much.
We'll just have a little sort of smattering, sort of.
No, but it really did come down. I had half an hour to get out of the hotel car park yesterday in my little, quite a good car actually. It's all right, you know, and going around in circles like this, thinking, hang on a second, the steering wheel's not going that way, but I am for some reason. Anyway, I have one more minute, Amanda, but look, we've done it.
There's the bag.
Yeah.
The handles then get fastened on. So you've got your two handles. They get pinned into place.
Do Do you gauge that by eye, roughly speaking?
I do.
Are there points?
But pretty much the edge, as I've laid down, where the curves come up,
you're
literally,
following the curve up, yes.
Just follow that line up.
Just follow the band.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Okay. And then that will give you an even finish.
Oh, and look at this. Once we've got this pinned into place, that's it. Job done. Amanda working at lightning speed here.
Okay. I've already made this one into a hoop, okay, and pressed at the bottom edge. The top edge then goes together, right sides together. Make sure that your handles are facing downwards. It's like fighting with a duvet. There we go. Pin that into place. And we will then whip all the way around that top edge.
Oh, and now we are running out of time.
Yeah. If I show just
so
those
when
basics.
we've got halfway round.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So I'll put one more pin in and then
yeah.
make a bit more.
And then we can.
Yes. So we'd sew all the way around there.
Yeah.
That will then get pushed up.
Oh, now look.
Around to the inside.
Yeah.
That nice neat edge will then cover the raw stitching inside.
Love it.
And that is your bag. And then the pattern does say do about 4 rows of stitching around this top band. My machine at home was playing up last night, so I just did top and bottom.
Or whatever you need to.
But
Amanda,
yeah,
thank you so much. I'm so sorry, I need to run because they're going to switch us off in a moment. When are you back with us?
Next Sunday. This Sunday coming, yeah.
Fantastic. See you back on Sunday. Thank you
Lovely.
so much.
Thank you.
Gotta go, because we've got to do a nice big roundup before we leave you today. So there is the Orchid in Grey. That's the kit that Amanda's just been using there. BGGC 99 at 44.99. Remember, there's 1.5 meters of the patterned fabric on that. There are only 2 of these remaining, by the way. And then we say goodbye. And of course, you've seen them all being made in the show as well. So a quick roundup of the other bundles then. Which way should we do it first? Let's go. Yes, the one that we already had fully made up, the duck egg blue one, that's this bundle here. 0.5 meter of the PU. 1.5 meters of the patterned fabric in this bundle as well. Remember, it does have the pattern. Sorry, that was the pattern that I ran over to the other side with. The pattern is with it as well, plus the snap fastener. It's 1.5 meters of the Art Gallery Fresh Magnolia study fabric, and it is so it's 1.5 meters of that, and 0.5 meter of the spray time fabric in candy floss as well, plus the pattern interfacing snap and thread bingo. It's a reel of 196. Gutermann thread. So that's that one that we had pre-made up right at the beginning of the show. The next one that we are going to do is the olive. So it's the olive green, isn't it? And the beige together. This is very, very nice. And just a correction from what I said earlier as well, in all of these bundles, the patterned fabric, you will get 1.5 meters. I think I said 0.5 meter at the top of the show because that's what the computer said. So it's 1.5 meters of your Butterick geometric. No, hang on. Lewis and Irene Drawing Room Blooms on Rose fabric. 0.5 meter of linear olive macawa and 0.5 meter of your beige PU leather, which is great. And it's a 50% viscose, 50% PU, by the way, the makeup of that PU leather, or pleather as we call it in the trade. BHGC 66, and that's yours at 47.49. Let's do bundles on their own then, shall we? Should we do this one first? Let's do Primrose. Primrose Magnolia thingy, that one. Let's do this one first. There it is, Orchid in Grey fabric. I knew that. I know I just rename everything. 0.5 meter of the grey PU, 1.5 meters of Michael Miller's It's a Wildlife fabric in raspberry. And it's 0.5 meter of your Spectrum Macawa Solid in Deep Orchid. Aren't we doing well? See, 4 days in a row, we've fallen apart in the last 3 minutes. It's great. Lovely. Okay, so that's that bundle of just fabric alone. So no pattern or anything else with that. That's just the fabric bundle. And should we do one of these? Let's not do one of those. Let's look at the menu for tomorrow instead, shall we? Let's do that, shall we? Hannah's just going to find it and then we will do it toot sweet. Natasha should be with you, fingers crossed, 8 a.m. tomorrow morning. Oh, with the fabulous Jennifer Taylor. Oh, brilliant. Beautiful blouses with Jennifer Taylor tomorrow. Pre-cut perfection with Tash at 9 o'clock. Kitchen accessories with Jennifer Taylor at 10 o'clock. So special. Oh, yes, I'll mention that in a second. They will have a new one tomorrow. I must remind you of ours today. And brilliant bag making is at 11 o'clock tomorrow morning as well. Quick reminder of the So Special, the Overlocker. Best value overlocker we've ever had here on the Sewing Quarter. It is the Elna 664. Yes, absolutely. And the details of it are popping up right now for you to see. Loads of you are checked out on this one. $249.99 IBJE19. Now I can really say it. I will hopefully be back in the new year. I am going back to North Yorkshire. Thank you to this wonderful team. It's been great spending time in and out of work with all of you. It's been great. Thank you to you for watching as well. Stay safe whatever you are doing. Have a wonderful Christmas. I'll see you in the new year. Back with Tash tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock. Have a great day. Lots of love.
Tune in at 9 a.m. on Wednesday the 13th of December to see Victoria Peat recreate this gorgeous rainbow hexes cushion by Joe Westfoot. Featured in the brand new edition of Love Patchwork and Quilting, this machine applique cushion is a great way to experiment with colour. Victoria will also be enlarging the design into a coordinating quilt, and she'll be sharing her expert advice to help you along the way. It's the perfect project to work on during your post-Christmas downtime and a great way to add a splash of colour into your home. So join Victoria on Wednesday the 13th of December for this fun project, only on Sewing Quarter Freeview Channel 78.